Chen Silin has just shown her most embarrassing side to Jiang Fan. Now, a 3-star soul master is revealed, and the Qin family's old master has returned. Leave a like and subscribe to walk this path. Silin instinctively retorted but stopped abruptly when she saw the face under the mask. Jiang Fan? She couldn't believe her eyes. Her mind went blank. You helped our Chen family really for my sake, Jiang Fan said angrily. What else? What's in your head? Do you think I'm a lecher? Chen Silin was completely bewildered. She then thought of her sloppy appearance, the awful dishes she made, and her unpleasant image. Suddenly, she felt a sense of utter despair. She had shown her most embarrassing side in front of the person she liked the most. I can't live anymore. She squatted down and covered her face, crying bitterly. Chen Yuqiu arrived upon hearing the commotion. Seeing his daughter squatting on the ground and crying from a distance, he thought she had been bullied. His heart ached and he blamed himself. I'm sorry, Silin. Father shouldn't have let you bear this. Then he looked at Jiang Fan and said solemnly, Please come another day. Even if the Chen family has to go bankrupt, we will repay your kindness. Chen Silin quickly wiped away her tears and explained, No, it's not like that. I wasn't bullied. We misunderstood. After she explained Jiang Fan's identity, Chen Yuqiu suddenly realized. It turned out he was overthinking. Jiang Fan was indeed the fiancé of his daughter's best friend and truly acted on her behalf. Look at the mess I've made. Chen Yuqiu's face was filled with embarrassment, and he continuously bowed and apologized. I misunderstood you out of petty thoughts. I apologize to you. Chen Yuqiu awkwardly took the wine from the table and was about to toast back. Suddenly, he noticed the horrific dishes on the table and became furious. Which chef made these dishes? Do you not want to work in my Chen family anymore? Chen Silin covered her face. Dad, stop it, I made them. I'll make a new batch. Chen Yuqiu's mouth dropped open, feeling awkward. Let me not embarrass you, I will have Silin redo it. It's unnecessary. Jiang Fan waved his hand. I'm not hungry, let's first check on Chen Silin's condition. This time, can you let me take your pulse? Chen Silin was even more embarrassed to face people. It turned out that Jiang Fan was really trying to diagnose her illness just now, but she misunderstood and thought he was taking advantage of her. She couldn't help but feel ashamed as she covered her face with her sleeve and stretched out her other hand. Chen Yuqiu was surprised. Young Master Jiang, my daughter is ill. Is it serious? Jiang Fan's medical skills had already amazed him as he was close to death before. To say his skills were miraculous was not an exaggeration. His sudden seriousness made Chen Yuqiu's heart skip a beat. We'll know after examining. Jiang Fan placed his hand on Chen Silin's wrist. After a moment, a peculiar expression appeared on his face. The pulse is smooth and rhythmic with alternating waves. This is a sign of a slippery pulse. Chen Silin, with eyes still tinged with shame, asked in confusion, What is a slippery pulse? Jiang Fan glanced at Chen Silin's lower abdomen and hesitated. Pregnancy. Crash, the wine glass in Chen Yuqiu's hand fell suddenly, shattering into countless pieces on the ground. His eyes were wide with shock as he looked at his daughter. Chen Silin was struck like thunder. Pregnancy? Amidst her shock, a great sense of humiliation surged in her heart. Especially since these words came from Jiang Fan's mouth, she felt even more humiliated, her eyes quickly reddening. I'm pure, I haven't even touched a man's hand. Chen Yuqiu also snapped out of his shock. In front of him was a healer. If it were anyone else, he would have slapped them away. Young Master Jiang, please diagnose carefully. My daughter is still a virgin and has kept herself clean. How could she be pregnant? Jiang Fan shook his head, very sure. It is indeed a slippery pulse. There's no mistake. If not pregnancy, there's only one other possibility. Jiang Fan stared intently at Chen Silin's lower abdomen, an innate fetus. Chen Yuqiu and Chen Silin both breathed a little easier, but then looked puzzled. Apparently they hadn't heard of the so-called innate fetus. Jiang Fan explained, an innate fetus is a theoretical physique. When two fetuses are in the same womb, there's a tiny probability that one will be absorbed by the other. Two fetuses sharing one body. That's the innate fetus. After hearing this, Chen Yuqiu showed a thoughtful look. He recalled, when my wife was first pregnant, indeed a doctor noted twins, but later there was only one. We always thought that doctor was incompetent, mistaking the pulse. What? Chen Silin touched her lower abdomen, feeling chills. Are you saying there's another person in my body? Jiang Fan waved his hand and smiled to comfort her. Don't be afraid. Being called an innate fetus rather than a freak means this physique is highly coveted by many female martial artists. Most absorbed fetuses are gradually assimilated with the main body as it grows. At your age, if it still exists, it's definitely extraordinary. If it awakens, it will surely display extraordinary abilities, either granting some special power or enhancing the main body, perhaps even containing a strong spirit root. With this explanation, Chen Yuqiu showed a look of joy. This is actually a good thing? Young Master Jiang, is there a way to activate it? Jiang Fan nodded. He immediately wrote a prescription listing expensive herbs. Chen Yuqiu couldn't help but feel a pang of pain, but thinking of his daughter's potential transformation, he gritted his teeth and ordered the butler to start gathering the materials. Chen Silin bit her lip lightly. She wasn't afraid anymore, on the contrary, she was a bit eager, hoping for a great change that would narrow the gap between her and Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan, thank you so much for helping me so much. She didn't know how to repay him. Her eyes were filled with admiration. As a father, Chen Yuqiu seemed to notice something and regretted, "It's a shame young Master Jiang is already engaged, otherwise I wouldn't mind marrying my daughter to you." A divine doctor. The top prodigy of Lonely Boat City. Such a dragon among men, he was more than happy to bring them together. Chen Silin's heart pounded wildly. Her father liked Jiang Fan so much. After some thought, she whispered, "Dad, actually young Master Jiang has another secret identity. Please keep it to yourself. He's also a 3-star soul master. Our top-grade Qi Cultivation liquid and Pifu pill were made by him." What? Chen Yuqiu's pupils contracted sharply, and he instinctively wanted to bow, only to be stopped by Chen Silin. "Dad, he doesn't know I discovered his 3-star soul master identity." So he stopped his actions. But his heart was in turmoil. A 3-star soul master, what does that mean? That could make even the sect master of Green Cloud sect kneel. Such a person, even with a marriage already, why not have his daughter as a concubine? He heavily slapped his thigh and sighed. "Ah, if only your mother hadn't made her own decisions." Chen Silin was surprised. "What happened with mother?" Chen Yuqiu said helplessly. "Your mother was worried that after I was gone, the Chen family would have no support, so she decided to connect us with the Zhang family in Biliu City. Soon they will come to propose." What? Chen Silin's face turned pale as she kept retreating. She also had a marriage arrangement. Then she and Jiang Fan, thinking of this, her face was filled with bitterness. Chen Yuqiu sighed silently and said to Jiang Fan, "Young Master Jiang has seen the world. On the day of the proposal, please come to be a witness and help check the person to see if he's worthy of marrying my daughter." Check. Jiang Fan declined. "Matters between two big families, how can an outsider like me be involved?" Chen Yuqiu really valued his identity as a 3-star soul master. Such a person's judgment is surely not wrong. "Please, young Master Jiang, help us, so my daughter doesn't marry the wrong person and regret it for life." Silin's eyes lit up, and she quickly signaled to Jiang Fan, urging him to agree quickly. Jiang Fan naturally understood her little scheme. She wanted him to help refuse the marriage proposal. Seeing her pleading look, Jiang Fan sighed helplessly and said, "All right then, I'll bring Yoren along to attend the ceremony. But I will make a fair judgment. If the person is truly good, Miss Chen, you should marry him." Chen Silin shot him a resentful look, staring at him intently. Feeling uncomfortable under her gaze, Jiang Fan dared not linger any longer and cupped his hands in farewell. Back at the Su family. Even outside the gate, he could hear laughter and chatter, signaling that a night banquet was being held. Jiang Fan stepped through the gate in surprise, and Su Yoren greeted him with a big smile. "Fan, where have you been? Why are you back so late? Quick, raise a toast to Yining and congratulate her." Congratulate. After a brief thought, Jiang Fan asked in astonishment, "Did she break through to the Foundation establishment realm?" Just yesterday, she had borrowed money from him to buy a Pifu pill. Now the Su family was hosting an unprecedented night banquet, clearly celebrating Su Yining's breakthrough to the Foundation establishment realm. Breaking through Foundation establishment qualified one to stand independently as a martial artist. In Lonely Boat City, that made one a notable figure. Su Zhengyan had only reached the first layer of Foundation establishment in his middle age. Su Yining breaking through at her young age was indeed a significant event in Su family history. "I should be the one to toast you." Seeing Jiang Fan return, Su Yining came over holding 2 cups of wine and handed him one. "Without your money, I wouldn't have been able to buy the Pifu pill. Thank you." Having broken through to the Foundation establishment realm, Su Yining was more composed than ever. Her eyes shone with confidence. Their relationship seemed to change with the elevation of their realms. This time, she did not avoid the subject, holding the wine cup and saying, "I was willful when I refused the marriage proposal back then, but I do not regret it." In her mind flashed the figure of the No One Shadow Guard, whom she looked up to, and she said, "Between you and me, we are not on the same level. It's hard to pursue the same goals. I hope you can let go of this grudge soon and focus on the martial path. Strive to become even better." Jiang Fan was speechless. Who had a grudge? He wished to marry Su Yoren. Shaking his head, he did not explain further and responded with a light sip of his wine. Invited to celebrate together, Yiqingxiu couldn't help but feel indignant for Jiang Fan and softly reproached, "Yining, why say such things? So many people are here. At least give him some face." Su Yining calmly said, "I just want him to become better. If he had even half the qualities of the No One Shadow Guard, I would have accepted the marriage proposal." Yiqingxiu was visibly taken aback. Jiang Fan was not just half of the No One Shadow Guard. He was the No One Shadow Guard in person. She opened her mouth, but, bound by the promise to keep Jiang Fan's identity a secret, ultimately said nothing. She merely probed, "Yining, I think Jiang Fan has a lot of potential. Since he and your sister aren't formally married yet, why don't I help bring you two together?" At these words, Su Yining gave a look as if Yiqingxiu had gone mad. "Qingxiu, did you take the wrong medicine? I just escaped from the sea of suffering and you want me to go back in?" Yiqingxiu stammered for a while, finally saying in resignation, "Well, one day don't regret it." Su Yining wore a puzzled expression. "I will regret it, because of Jiang Fan." She thought her good friend must be drunk. After several rounds of toasts, Jiang Fan left the banquet, intending to return to his training. Today's encounter with the subalter master made him keenly aware of the gap between them. He had to quickly elevate his cultivation another level. Only then could he hope to win. "Jiang Fan, wait." He hadn't walked far when Yiqingxiu suddenly caught up with him, speaking in a low voice. "Can I ask you to save someone?" Jiang Fan looked around to ensure no one was near and asked, "Who?" "Zhu Jianshan." Yiqingxiu said, "Zhu Jianshan was poisoned by a sinister toxin while on a mission for the Green Cloud sect, and he returned to heal. But his condition is very complex, and no famous doctors from various places could help. His mother asked our city lord mansion to find a more skilled divine doctor, so I thought of you." Heh. Jiang Fan didn't think twice. "Me save him? Do you know our grudge?" He went on to explain their enmity. Upon learning of the feud, Yiqingxiu was astonished. After a moment of thought, she turned to him and said, "I still suggest you give it a try. The Zhu family has a 1,000-year fire well, which produces a few fire spirit pearls every 10 years. It is immensely beneficial for those at the 9th layer of Qi cultivation. If your aptitude is strong, 3 pearls can help break through to 9th layer perfection in Qi cultivation. You could ask the Zhu family to provide them in exchange for treating Zhu Jianshan." Does the Zhu family really have such treasures? Jiang Fan felt a stir of excitement. Though he was reluctant to save Zhu Jianshan, the allure of the fire spirit pearls was irresistible. "What are his symptoms?" Yiqingxiu then described everything she knew. After listening, Jiang Fan chuckled. "What sinister toxin? Its corpse poison transmitted from contact with a woman who practices evil cultivation. Removing this poison is quite an ordeal." "All right, I agree." Yiqingxiu's face lit up with joy. "I'll accompany you tomorrow." After a night of cultivation, Jiang Fan drank several bottles of top-grade Qi cultivation liquid, yet his cultivation did not increase a bit. "It gets harder as you go higher." Looking at the sun outside the window, Jiang Fan stood up. The remnants of the Blood-Bat Palace could reappear at any moment. He needed to increase his cultivation quickly. The fire spirit pearls from the Zhu family had to be obtained. Before leaving, he took down the thunder-patterned spiritual wood sword hanging by his bed and strapped it to his waist. Against a strong opponent like the subalter master, ordinary divine weapons were ineffective. Their strong spiritual power made it impossible for ordinary blades to get close. Only by catching them off guard with the electrical effect of the wooden sword could he have a chance to win. Leaving the Su mansion, he put on the mask of the No One Shadow Guard in a small alley. Soon after, he met up with Yiqingxiu. "Aren't we going to the Zhu family?" Yiqingxiu asked in surprise, noticing they were heading in the opposite direction. Jiang Fan replied, "Removing corpse poison requires a special material." He went to the largest material shop in Lonely Boat City. After some searching, he found a bronze-colored spiky bramble. "Luckily, they have it here," Jiang Fan said. Yiqingxiu looked curious and reached out to touch it. "Don't touch it." Jiang Fan stopped her in time. "This is iron blood thorns. You can't touch it directly with your hands, or it will cut your flesh painfully." Yiqingxiu quickly withdrew her hand. "So magical. What's the golden one next to it?" She pointed to a similar-looking but golden bramble nearby. That's the more potent soul-stealing thorns. Touching it inflicts excruciating pain on the soul, a pain that makes one wish for death. Only patients with severe conditions need it. The patient, in this case, was clearly Zhu Jianshan. Jiang Fan put on gloves and picked up the bronze iron blood thorns. This will suffice. The soul-stealing thorns could kill Zhu Jianshan. At that moment, Zhu Jianshan walked in with his followers and shouted from a distance, "Shopkeeper, give me another piece of pain-relieving antelope horn." Suddenly, he spotted Jiang Fan and immediately showed a mocking grin. "Well, the No-One Shadow Guard is here to buy materials. Who are you trying to bring back to life this time?" Glancing at the iron blood thorns in Jiang Fan's hand, he waved grandly and said, "Shopkeeper, I want everything he's holding." The shopkeeper's eyes lit up. All right, I'll pack it up for young Master Zhu. He wants to seize even this." Jiang Fan picked up the soul-stealing thorns and Zhu Jianshan waved his hand again. "I want this too. I am a major customer here. I have priority for all materials." The shopkeeper immediately complied and took away the soul-stealing thorns as well. Jiang Fan showed a peculiar smile, the healing materials bought by the patient himself. "What a deal." He said meaningfully, "Young Master Zhu, enjoy." Finished speaking, he left for the Zhu family with Yi Qingxiu ahead of him. Yuqiu, who had heard the news, had been waiting for some time. However, when she saw that Yi Qingxiu had brought a very young masked man, she frowned. "Qingxiu, is this the divine doctor you mentioned? Isn't he a bit too young?" Such worries were not surprising. Medical expertise required accumulation, and the older one was, the more experienced they tended to be. Yi Qingxiu patiently said, "Aunt, wasn't young Master Zhu present at the Chen family yesterday?" The Chen family master was already in a coffin, but he was revived by the No-One Shadow Guard. Zhang Yuqiu frowned and said, "But Shen said that the Chen family master wasn't dead at all, so it doesn't count as resurrection." Yi Qingxiu and Jiang Fan were both surprised. How did Zhu Jianshan know that the Chen family master wasn't dead? At that time, Zhu Jianshan and Chen Wuji both asserted in unison that the Chen family master was dead, and even tried to prevent Jiang Fan from checking his pulse. Wait, the two exchanged a glance and saw the suspicion in each other's eyes. When Chen Wuji died, he was killed by someone behind the scenes, and Zhu Jianshan was also present at the time. As a Foundation establishment realm cultivator, he was one of the few people with enough strength to kill without leaving any traces. Connecting the dots, it was almost certain that Zhu Jianshan had conspired with Chen Wuji to kill the Chen family master. "Don't make a fuss." Yi Qingxiu lowered her voice to remind. Jiang Fan nodded. They only had suspicions and no evidence. Speaking out rashly might lead to Zhu Jianshan turning the tables on them. However, this did not mean that Jiang Fan would let it go. After all, Chen Yuqiu was Chen Silin's father. No matter what, he had to seek some compensation for Chen Yuqiu. He looked at Zhang Yuqiu, who was questioning him, and observed her complexion before saying, "Mrs. Zhu, you should stop using the qi-nourishing and blood-tonifying items you used before. The Beauty Restore pill has already made your body youthful enough. Continuing to take your previous medications will be overdoing it." Zhang Yuqiu remained unconvinced. "But I feel quite good." Jiang Fan said indifferently, "Do you also feel good when you get nosebleeds morning and night?" "What?" Zhang Yuqiu was startled. "How did you know I've been having nosebleeds lately?" Jiang Fan smiled without answering. Yi Qingxiu smiled and said, "Mrs. Zhu, do you believe in No-One Shadow Guard's medical skills now?" He diagnosed the Chen family master's pulse from a distance. This time, Zhang Yuqiu no longer dared to question the brilliance of the No-One Shadow Guard's medical skills. She quickly said, "Quickly serve the divine doctor with the best tea," once seated. Zhang Yuqiu inquired about Zhu Jianshan's condition. "Divine doctor, are you really confident in curing his dark poison?" Seeing that she was still playing dumb. Jiang Fan bluntly said, "To be frank, this is not dark poison but corpse poison. Mrs. Zhu, it would be best if you restrain your son from associating with those demonic women. This time, he was only infected with corpse poison, which is already fortunate. Those women often deal with corpse bugs, and they're full of deadly poisons." Zhang Yuxiu's complexion immediately became unnatural. It was evident that she also knew the origin of the poison on Zhu Jianshan's body. Being exposed was quite embarrassing. Yet at the same time, she felt delighted. Other so-called divine doctors couldn't even determine the type of poison with face-to-face diagnosis. This No-One Shadow Guard, just from a few descriptions of the symptoms, confirmed the accurate poison. If even he couldn't cure her son's illness, there would be nobody else in the world who could. "Divine doctor, my son's illness is entirely in your hands." Jiang Yuqiu said excitedly. Jiang Fan waved his hand and said, I can remove the corpse poison. However, I want your Zhu family's fire spirit pearl. What? Jiang Yuqiu hesitated, appearing very troubled. She hesitated for a while and said, Divine Doctor, can something else replace the fire spirit pearl? You can freely choose from the Zhu family's treasure trove. The only exception is the fire spirit pearl, which is reserved for the inner sect disciples of the Green Cloud sect. Jiang Fan shook his head. I only want the fire spirit pearl. I don't care for anything else. If your Zhu family can't provide it, then I'll take my leave. After saying that, he immediately stood up without any hesitation. This made Jiang Yuqiu anxious, and she looked at Yi Qingxiu for help. Yi Qingxiu shrugged helplessly. What your family can offer, so can the Chen family, and the Chen family has given much more out of gratitude for saving their lives. The No One Shadow Guard no longer lacks ordinary things. If you can't part with the fire spirit pearl, then consider us never having come here. From now on, you can contact the No One Shadow Guard yourself. I've already repaid my favor. If not for the Yi family owing the Zhu family a favor, Yi Qingxiu would not have bothered to invite the No One Shadow Guard, especially for Zhu Jianxian's illness. Now that the favor was repaid, she wouldn't care in the future. Jiang Yuqiu became anxious immediately. If she let the No One Shadow Guard leave, her son's corpse poison might never be cured. Fine. I agree, she gritted her teeth and said. However, in recent years, there have been fewer fire spirit pearls produced in the fire well. I'm not sure how many are left after 10 years. I can only promise to let you go down to collect them once. Whether or not you find any depends on you. Jiang Fan frowned slightly. Can't guarantee the quantity, but the opportunity was right in front of him. He couldn't miss it. After considering for a moment and realizing that someone else was providing the materials for the treatment, he only needed to exert some effort. So he agreed readily. Okay, now start preparing for the treatment according to my instructions. Under his instructions, the Zhu family's servants brought over a slaughtering rack, and they prepared 10 basins of glowing hot charcoal. Jiang Yuqiu was a bit dumbfounded. Divine Doctor, is this for treatment? Why did it look like they were about to slaughter a pig? Jiang Fan reminded, the process of removing corpse poison will be very painful. Please remain calm, Mrs. Zhu. If you interfere midway, your son's corpse poison will be totally untreatable. Jiang Yuqiu nodded. As long as it can cure him, what's a bit of pain? Jiang Fan couldn't help but shake his head. She had no idea about the intensity of the pain in removing corpse poison. Not long after, Zhu Jianxian returned. Jiang Yuqiu hurriedly said, Shen, quickly come and greet the Divine Doctor. He is the great doctor recommended by Miss Yi. He had heard the night before that another Divine Doctor would come to see his illness today, personally recommended by Yi Qingxiu. He had been plagued by corpse poison for half a year, his health was deteriorating, and without timely removal his life was in danger. He respectfully stepped forward and cupped his hands. I am Zhu Jianxian it's you. Recognizing that the so-called Divine Doctor was the No One Shadow Guard, he immediately frowned and said, Mother, why did you invite him? Make him leave. I don't want him to treat me. Jiang Yuqiu reprimanded. Shut up. How dare you be disrespectful to the Divine Doctor? No one but him can cure your corpse poison. However, Zhu Jianxian looked at the No One Shadow Guard, the more annoyed he became. Especially since they had just had an argument, how could he let him treat his illness? He snorted, Whoever wants to be treated by him can go. I don't care. After saying that, he lifted his leg to leave. Jiang Yuqiu became angry and said, Tie him up. A serious illness was no time for such behavior. A few house servants quickly surrounded him. But how could they be a match for Zhu Jianxian? He knocked them down in a few moves. You dogs dare to lay hands on me? Zhu Jianxian shouted in anger. Just then, his vision blurred and the No One Shadow Guard came toward him with a wooden sword. Furious, Zhu Jianxian laughed. A mere foundation establishment 9th layer and you dare to challenge me. He reached out to grab the wooden sword. Unbeknownst to him, this wooden sword was absolutely untouchable. Webb just as he grabbed the wooden sword, ready to take it away. Jiang Fan suddenly activated the thunder strike effect in the wooden sword. A powerful current immediately surged into Zhu Jianxian's body. He screamed in pain and then went stiff on the spot. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Jiang Fan swept across, kicking him onto the wooden frame and said, Tie him up. The servants immediately stepped forward, tying him up tightly to the pig slaughtering rack. By the time he regained consciousness, his hands and feet were already immobilized. He could only roar with anger. Let me down now. Jiang Fan ignored him and ordered him to be moved to the stove rack for roasting. The intense heat made him scream incessantly. "What do you intend to do to me?" Jiang Fan calmly said. "Of course it's to cure you. However, a key material is still needed." He opened the bundle Zhu Jianshan had brought back and found the golden soul-stealing thorns. He couldn't help but be slightly stunned. "Where are the bronze thorns?" a servant said helplessly. "The young master found it too cheap, so he threw it away on the way back." Jiang Fan reluctantly picked up the soul-stealing thorns and walked up to Zhu Jianshan. "No choice, you threw away the iron blood thorns, so we'll have to use this to treat you." Seeing this item, Zhu Jianshan was terrified, his face turning ashen. "Wait, you're going to use soul-stealing thorns to treat me. Do you know what this is? It will kill people." Apparently, he recognized the item and knew its terrifying nature. Jiang Fan displayed a playful expression. "Oh, young Master Zhu, weren't you competing with me for this? Weren't you planning to use it to treat yourself? I thought you knew its medicinal effects." "What?" Zhu Jianshan's face turned as red as a pig's liver. He spent a huge amount of money to grab these thorns, only to find out they were for the No-One Shadow Guard. This made him feel extremely aggrieved, but what terrified him was that this thing was going to be used on him. The worst part was that he had thrown away the less painful iron blood thorns and kept only the soul-stealing thorns. "No-One Shadow Guard, I'm warning you, stay away, stay away." "Ah!" As Jiang Fan pressed the soul-stealing thorns onto him, he immediately felt spiritual pain. It was as if a sharp knife was wildly stirring in his soul. The pain was 10 times worse than a physical knife wound. He instantly let out a pig-like scream, convulsing and twitching violently in extreme agony. Jiang Yuqiu was tormented by the sound, just about to call for a stop, when she noticed black liquid seeping from Zhu Jianshan's skin. Under the high heat of the stove, it gradually evaporated into black gas and dissipated. This method actually worked. She gritted her teeth and held back her heartbreak, covering her ears and turning her back. "Shen, hold on, it will be over soon." At first, Zhu Jianshan could still scream. But as the treatment progressed, the pain left him unable to even cry out. He kept twitching all over, foaming at the mouth. The pain he had endured in his entire life was nothing compared to this moment. Yi Qingxiu looked on, amazed. Even those sentenced to death by Ling Chai didn't suffer as much as Zhu Jianshan, right? However, it was deserved. He paid a little bit for plotting against the Chen family master. An hour later, Jiang Fan finally stopped as no more black drops seeped from Zhu Jianshan's body. "All right, the corpse poison is removed." Jiang Yuqiu hurriedly had someone lower Zhu Jianshan. Watching her son, barely alive and twisted in pain, looking almost unrecognizable, she cried in pain. With trembling fingers, Zhu Jianshan weakly pointed at Jiang Fan and said, "Get rid of him." Jiang Fan shrugged and said, "Sorry, young Master Zhu, but I'm afraid I won't be leaving anytime soon. Because I still need to collect fire spirit pearls from your Zhu family's 1,000-year-old well." What? The Zhu family was actually giving him fire spirit pearls. Despite torturing me like this, the Zhu family still intended to gift him fire spirit pearls. You. Already mentally scarred, Zhu Jianshan couldn't handle such a blow and fainted on the spot in anger. The Zhu family members were thrown into chaos. After checking on him, Jiang Yuqiu sighed in relief, finding no serious issues. She said to Jiang Fan, "Thank you, divine doctor. The corpse poison is completely gone. My son will recover soon. Come with me." Led by her, Jiang Fan came to the forbidden area of the Zhu family, the fire well. The well was very deep, and the bottom was very spacious, not small at all compared to the Zhu family mansion. "Be careful with your steps when you go down," Jiang Yuqiu reminded. "Every time we collect fire spirit pearls, we lose some manpower." "Is that so?" Jiang Fan looked down and saw that the bottom of the well seemed very calm. Except for being somewhat warm, there was nothing special. Jiang Yuqiu grabbed a handful of stones and threw them down. One of the stones just landed when a pool of red-hot magma appeared below, instantly swallowing the stone. Jiang Fan's pupils slightly contracted. Jiang Yuqiu stared at him. "If you're too afraid to go down, you can wait a few days until our Zhu family finishes collecting. If there are any, we can give you one. If not, we'll compensate you with something else. How about it?" What a calculation, trying to bluff him away. If Jiang Fan wasn't there, how would he know if the Zhu family had collected any? If they collected any and hid them, giving him something random, what could he do about it? "No need, I'll go down myself," Jiang Fan said calmly. With movement techniques, even if he accidentally stepped into the magma, he could quickly dodge. Jiang Yuqiu looked displeased and said, "Then be careful." She didn't reveal any more details about the fire well and went back to check on her son. Yi Qingxiu worriedly said, Young Master Jiang, you must be careful. This fire well has indeed claimed many lives. Don't worry. Jiang Fan leaped down. Using his movement technique, he began searching at the bottom of the well. The area near the wellhead had been searched countless times by the Zhu family and was long devoid of fire spirit pearls. To find any, he had to go to the deepest part where the Zhu family dared not venture. Time ticked by. Jiang Fan still hadn't come up. Meanwhile, a recuperating Zhu Xianxian began to wake up. After the corpse poison was removed, his body was much better. With a few healing pills, he could get out of bed. But currently, his concern wasn't for his body. It was whether Jiang Fan had obtained any fire spirit pearls. Mother, why did you let the No-One Shadow Guard go to the fire well? The 3 fire spirit pearls this time, I promised them to senior brother Zhang from the inner sect. With his care, I can prosper in the Green Cloud sect. Jiang Yuqiu frowned and said, There's no need to worry. The fire well has been harvested over the years, and places that can still produce fire spirit pearls are very few. The safest place is quite hidden, he may not find it. As for the deepest part, even your father dared not venture there. Him going there is asking for death. Zhu Jianshan felt slightly at ease. But he still wasn't reassured. Let's go to the well to keep an eye on things. Otherwise, he might take out his frustration on the well and ruin our family's treasure. Jiang Yuqiu was startled. How did I forget about that? Let's go and check immediately. Deep in the well. Jiang Fan stood in front of a rock wall looking intrigued. As he walked, other rock walls were covered with thick magma dust accumulated over the years. But this particular rock wall had noticeably less dust, looking quite out of place. It looks like someone has moved it before. Jiang Fan's eyes flashed, and he knocked on the stone wall. When he knocked on the central position, a hollow sound came through. It's not solid inside. Jiang Fan hesitated no longer, gathering his spiritual power and striking the center of the stone wall with his palm. A bang was heard. The stone wall shattered, revealing a half-person high hole. The hole was shallow, like a bird's nest. 3 bright red beads exuding dense spiritual energy lay closely together like bird eggs. Fire spirit pearls! Jiang Fan was overjoyed. He immediately tucked all 3 fire spirit pearls into his pouch. Still trying to hide them from people? Jiang Fan smiled slightly. The less the Zhu family wanted to part with the fire spirit pearls, the less he could leave just like that. He glanced deeper into the hole and, smiling, employed his movement technique, exploring the bottom like a dragonfly skimming the water. Every time his foot landed, he floated up as lightly as a feather. Several times he stepped on lava but easily neutralized the danger. The more dangerous the place, the fewer times the Zhu family came. The more fire spirit pearls there were. He kept collecting fire spirit pearls until he reached the end of the fire well, and the fire spirit pearls were gathered cleanly. Looking at the 12 fire spirit pearls he collected, Jiang Fan returned satisfied. Soon after, he returned outside the well. Yining, who had been waiting for a long time, asked with concern, "Are you hurt?" Upon closer inspection. Not only was Jiang Fan uninjured, but he was also spotless with no trace of disarray. Jiang Yuqiu and Zhu Jianshan secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Every time someone from the Zhu family went down, they would come back filthy. The slightest injuries would be burns on the skin. Jiang Fan, with no dust on him, must not have gone deep, and it was impossible he got any fire spirit pearls. Zhu Jianshan said sarcastically, "You made such a fuss about going down, and this is all. It would have been better if we just gave you something to send you away." Jiang Yuxiu's eyebrows relaxed, and she said, "Young master, going down the well was your own choice. We made it clear beforehand that whether you find anything depends on your own ability. Now that you've found nothing, you can't blame our Zhu family." Jiang Fan hadn't planned to reveal his gains, to avoid stimulating the mother and son. Since they were being so arrogant, Jiang Fan unceremoniously took out 6 fire spirit pearls and said, "I was quite lucky and found 6. Saying this, he split them into 2, tossing 3 to Yining. "These 3 are for you, as a reward for introducing the job." Yining instinctively caught them, then showed a surprised expression. "You actually found 6. How did you do it? Every time the Zhu family goes down, they can only find 3. Jiang Yuqiu and Zhu Jianshan's faces changed dramatically simultaneously. Zhu Jianshan exclaimed, "6 beads! How could you take so many? Put them down now." Jiang Fan sneered, "I found them with my own abilities. What after the illness is cured, the Zhu family wants to go back on their word." Jiang Yuxiu's face turned ashen. "Young master, I wouldn't mind you taking 1 or 2, but 6 is too many." How about this? You take 3 and leave 3 so we can still be friends in the future. Heh heh. Are they that anxious? Had they known Jiang Fan collected the entire fire well clean, taking 12 fire spirit pearls, they might have attacked on the spot, right? Jiang Fan said expressionlessly, Mrs. Zhu, you said earlier that whatever I found was mine by ability. It can't be that finding none means I'm not capable, and finding too many means I'm being too ruthless, right? Yining, who received 3 fire spirit pearls, also stood up to defend him. Auntie, it was for the sake of our 2 families' friendship that I brought the divine doctor to help. If you go back on your word, how does that make the Yi family look? Jiang Yuqiu felt bitter but couldn't speak out. She never expected Jiang Fan to find 6 fire spirit pearls. But having promised before and with the city lord's daughter on site, it was hard to go back on her word. She could only say angrily, fine, take them, the Zhu family admits defeat, after Jiang Fan and Yining left. Zhu Jianshan grew angrier, clenching his fist and said, damn it, he dared to be so ruthless. However, this also proves there should be more fire spirit pearls in our fire well. Otherwise, how could he have found so many on his first time? Jiang Yuxiu's eyes lit up at his words. She immediately summoned the clan members to go down and gather more, but after a busy day and night, they returned with nothing but injuries, not 1 fire spirit pearl. Reporting to Madam, all the fire spirit pearls in that hidden spot have been taken by that boy. Moreover, the few fire spirit pearls we saw in the distance are also gone. What? Zhu Jianshan flew into a rage. He took all the fire spirit pearls, not leaving a single one. Bastard, I'll never forgive you. Meanwhile, Jiang Fan and Yining, the 2 hurried back to the Su family. Yining held the 3 fire spirit pearls, reluctant to part with them. Noticing their color starting to fade, she quickly reminded, almost forgot. Fire spirit pearls lose their potency when away from magma. Use them quickly. Jiang Fan was surprised. He hurried back to the Su family. He called Su Yoren over and handed her 3 fire spirit pearls. Quickly take them and cultivate. Su Yoren was confused, but immediately followed his instructions. Yining was shocked. How come you have another 3? Jiang Fan blinked and took out 3 more. Gasped, 12 beads, did you empty the fire well? Yining gasped and then said, quick, give them to Su Yining. She just broke through the foundation establishment realm, these will still work for her. Jiang Fan pouted. He invited Su Zhengyan over, handed him 3 fire spirit pearls and wrote, Uncle, swallow them quickly. Su Zhengyan couldn't tell what they were, but, sensing they were great treasures, swallowed them without a second thought. When Su Yining arrived after hearing the news, the 12 fire spirit pearls already had their masters. Fire spirit pearls? Looking at the 3 fire spirit pearls in Ying's hands, Su Yining exclaimed, Qingsu, aren't these from the Zhu family? Where did you get them? Yining pointed at Jiang Fan. How could I have gotten them? It was him. Jiang Fan got them. What surprised her more was that her father Su Zhengyan and her sister Su Yoren had already taken the beads and were digesting their medicative powers. Everyone got some except her? Su Yining stared at Jiang Fan, signaling for him to make it right. Jiang Fan didn't bother with her. He swallowed the last 3 fire spirit pearls in 1 bite and sat cross-legged to start his cultivation. Su Yining stomped her foot. Giving fire spirit pearls to Su Yoren was one thing. Giving them to her father Su Zhengyan, she had no complaints. One was Jiang Fan's fiancé and the other was his elder. But giving them to Yining instead of her, was she not as important as an outsider? Yining also felt it was inappropriate to keep the fire spirit pearls and handed them to Su Yining. Yining, take these 3, they're yours. Tears welled in Su Yining's eyes, and she glared hatefully at Jiang Fan. I don't want them. It's just fire spirit pearls. I don't care for them. She ran out with red eyes. Yining sighed helplessly. Why does it have to come to this? The 3 fire spirit pearls would have been yours entirely. Half a day later, the 4 people opened their eyes one after another. Su Zhengyan said excitedly, I've advanced greatly. Won't be long before I break through to the foundation establishment's 2nd layer. The difference between the foundation establishment 1st and 2nd layers was huge. The former can hold their own in a confrontation. The latter was considered a top-tier expert in Lonely Boat City. The status of the Su family would rise accordingly in the future. Su Yoren said happily, I broke through to the 7th layer of Qi cultivation. Ever since Jiang Fan gave her the strange liquid and the mental method without a covering. In less than a month, she broke through from the 2nd to the 7th layer of Qi cultivation. It was truly fantastic when she thought about it. Jiang Fan and Yining both were at the 9th layer of Qi cultivation. Under the effect of the fire spirit pearls, they broke through to 9th layer perfection. Spiritual power increased by 50%, Jiang Fan exclaimed slightly. 9th layer of Qi cultivation and the 9th layer perfection were vastly different in spiritual power. He was confident that if he faced the subalter master again, he would no longer be unable to break through his spiritual power. As long as he got close, he could unleash his swordsmanship and the thunder strike effect of the wooden sword. Suddenly, a piercing, sharp sound shot through the sky. A firecracker rose into the sky and exploded, creating a large smoke cloud. Jiang Fan's face changed. "The Blood Bat Palace, they are coming." Jiang Fan immediately grabbed the wooden sword and shot towards the direction of the smoke like an arrow leaving the bowstring. On the way, he didn't forget to put on the mask of the No-One Shadow Guard. Yiqingxian followed closely behind and said, "Look at the direction of the smoke, it seems to be the Qin family." The Qin family? Jiang Fan thought for a moment and understood. The subalter master is looking for medicine to treat his eyes. "We can't let his eyes recover." The subalter master, who had lost an eye, had his strength reduced by 30%. If he recovered, his strength would reach its peak state. At that time, unless the city lord took action, it would be very difficult to defeat him. He didn't dare to linger any longer, immediately utilizing the surprising swallow movement technique, turning into a swift shadow and leaving. "I'll go ahead." Yiqingxiu's beautiful eyes narrowed. Movement technique? He actually trained in a movement technique. It was well known that movement techniques were the most scarce and also the most difficult to cultivate. Ordinary people found it extremely hard to obtain one, and even if they were fortunate enough to encounter one 9 times out of 10, they would find it hard to master. However, Jiang Fan secretly possessed a profound movement technique. This was enough to demonstrate his extraordinary comprehension. In her shock, Yiqingxian couldn't help but feel much pity for Su Yining. Yining, you've missed out on a rare fiancé in this world." The Su family was not far from the Qin family. With Jiang Fan's extraordinary movement technique, it took him less than the time it takes to drink half a cup of tea to arrive. However, everything inside and outside the Qin family was as usual. The Qin family head and several clansmen stood on the roof, looking at the smoke above with puzzled expressions. They seemed not to understand where the smoke came from. Jiang Fan was stunned. Blood Bat Palace hadn't come? Was it a false alarm? No, Jiang Fan suddenly realized, his face changing. It's a diversionary tactic. Blood Bat Palace deliberately drew the city guard's attention, but in reality, they're attacking another place. But where would they choose? Jiang Fan's mind raced. If the subalter master was looking for medicine, not attacking the Qin family, the remaining famous alchemy families, Jiang Fan's heart sank. The Chen family! The Chen family was truly Blood Bat Palace's target. His face changed drastically, stepping on the roof tiles, pushing his movement technique to the limit, and rushing over at high speed. And just as he was about to reach the Chen family, he noticed a figure arriving almost simultaneously. It turned out to be the No-Two Shadow Guard, Su Yining. She had been outside earlier. Therefore, she arrived at the Qin family ahead of them and, like Jiang Fan, analyzed Blood Bat Palace's real target. She was just about to take out a smoke bomb to sound the alarm, but saw a smoke bomb being launched from the rooftop ahead of her. Upon a closer look, she immediately showed a look of joy. "No-One Shadow Guard. You came too?" Jiang Fan nodded and looked at the tightly closed front door, frowning. They might have already been attacked inside. He jumped into the courtyard without making a sound. At the same time, the Chen family's backyard. Chen Yuqiu's chest was stained with blood. Several of the family's guards had fallen around him. But he still tightly protected Chen Silin and Liu Qingxian behind him, coldly staring at the one-eyed old man in front of him. "What do you want? Just take it. Why kill people?" Chen Yuqiu was extremely frightened. He had recognized them. The people in front of him were none other than the notorious remnants of the Blood Bat Palace. The leader was the subalter master who made countless strong men tremble. The subalter master glanced at the last dead protector at his feet. A fierce light gleamed in his eye. Damn it! The information was wrong. Wasn't the person named Chen seriously ill and unconscious? The reason for attacking the Chen family, besides the element of surprise, was also because the Chen family only had a widowed mother and orphan left, making it easier to succeed. But once inside, they found that Chen Yuqiu was awake. He had been a second-layer foundation establishment master. Even though he had been in a coma for many days, his foundation was still there. One of his protectors inadvertently got his heart shattered by a palm strike. HMPH! Struggling at death's door, you dare to bargain with me? The subaltern master snorted coldly, rushing forward with a murderous intent, his fists filled with strong spiritual power, fiercely striking toward the half-exposed Silin. Chen Yuqiu was horrified, gritting his teeth. He threw 2 punches to block, but his severely injured body was no match for the subaltern master. Thud! In just a moment, the subaltern master's fists shattered Chen Yuqiu's armed defense and landed directly on his chest. In an instant, Chen Yuqiu spat out a spray of blood, staggering back and pressing Liu Qingxian and her daughter who were behind him onto the ground. The subaltern master smiled coldly, stepping forward to confirm that Chen Yuqiu no longer had any fighting strength. Then cold eyes turned toward Chen Silin. What a pretty girl. Since I'm blind in one eye, I need a lady to serve me in the future, and you'll do. He bent down and grabbed Chen Silin's shoulder. Chen Yuqiu was in a panic, wanting to stop him, but found that his chest bones were broken and he couldn't move. At this critical moment, suddenly a scream came. Chen Yuqiu and the subaltern master looked over. Surprisingly, a nimble figure had silently flipped into the backyard. With one sword, he slashed open the throat of a Bloodbat Palace member guarding the back door. "It's you!" The subaltern master was furious. Upon seeing that mask with the clear number 1 on it, pure hatred shot from his only remaining eye. During their moment of surprise, Jiang Fan, with astonishing speed, swept over, easily taking down the last Bloodbat Palace member. "It's your turn." Jiang Fan raised his wooden sword, pointing it at the subaltern master. The subaltern master, now isolated, was furious. "Just in time, old and new grudges, I'll settle them with you today." He rushed at Jiang Fan. The unparalleled spiritual power of the second-layer foundation establishment continuously emanated, stirring up dust beneath his feet. Jiang Fan focused intently. He simultaneously operated his movement technique and cultivation. At the same time, he started with the last move of the 7-star sword Jiu. 7 stars to the north. The powerful sword force dispersed the spiritual power around him, aiming directly at the subaltern master's neck. The subaltern master's pupils contracted. His extensive combat experience made him decisively lean back to avoid the sword. "Your cultivation has increased." Last time, Jiang Fan could barely get close, but this time he almost hit a vital spot. Jiang Fan didn't get distracted by his words, decisively jumping back with his movement technique. He just managed to leap away when a fierce leg whip came from below, brushing past his nose. Just a little closer, and it would have shattered his jaw. Jiang Fan secretly thought it was close. The subaltern master's words just now were obviously intended to distract him, followed by a kick aimed at his vital spot. Fighting with someone who had clawed their way out of a pile of corpses required absolute focus. "Quite cautious, eh?" The subaltern master snorted coldly. "But today you won't escape." He charged again. Just as his fists were about to land, a fierce sword chi came from behind. It was Su Yining who seized the opportunity, stabbing her sword at his back the moment he exerted force. Now at Foundation Establishment, her sword chi had become extraordinary. It easily broke through the spiritual power that she couldn't disperse last time, aiming directly for the subaltern master's fatal point. The subaltern master's face changed slightly. He decisively gave up attacking Jiang Fan, shifted to the side while lunging, and executed a reverse flip kick towards Su Yining's wrist with a golden hook. Su Yining, caught off guard, quickly withdrew her sword to prevent injury to her arm. But this move played right into the subaltern master's hands. He supported himself with one hand on the ground, bouncing up into a handstand, and then scissored his legs toward her neck. The switch from defense to offense happened in the blink of an eye. Su Yining, with her limited combat experience, couldn't possibly defend against it. Seeing her neck about to be caught and twisted off suddenly, the subaltern master let out a sharp cry of pain. Jiang Fan had leaped even higher and struck at a more cunning angle, stabbing his sword into the subaltern master's armpit. The intense pain forced the subaltern master to abandon Su Yining and turn to defensive tactics. "Boy, you seek death." This minor injury, the subaltern master didn't take it seriously. His eyes grew fiercer. Jiang Fan's eyes flashed coldly. "The one who should die is you." He did not hesitate to activate the thunder strike effect of his wooden sword. Crackle, a powerful sound of electrical discharge. The electric current instantly surged through the subaltern master's entire body, rendering him paralyzed. He crashed headfirst into the ground. This sight left Su Yining dumbfounded. Even Chen Yuqiu was stunned. Jiang Fan had actually taken down the subaltern master with a single sword stroke. But Jiang Fan had no intention of stopping. He gripped the sword hilt with both hands, heavily kneeling on the paralyzed subalter master. His wooden sword stabbed fiercely into the left part of the subalter master's chest. Immediately, blood gushed out like a spring uncontrollably. Su Yining, witnessing this, showed a look of shock. You killed the subalter master." She was in a daze. Could the No-One Shadow Guard actually kill this person head-on? Jiang Fan nodded slightly, then his ears twitched, his expression changed. "Get out of the way." He didn't even dare to pull out the wooden sword, flipping backwards and jumping away. The subalter master, who should have had his heart pierced, suddenly sprung up. Chasing the retreating Jiang Fan, his twisted face's fists came swinging. "You little rat, you should die. If not for my heart being naturally on the right side, I would have fallen to you." As it turned out, Jiang Fan had heard his heartbeat and sensed something was wrong. His sword should have accurately pierced the opponent's heart, but his heartbeat remained unaffected. Luckily, he reacted quickly. Otherwise, he would have been in serious trouble just now. However, his sword was gone, rendering his swordsmanship useless. At this moment, outside the Chen family residence, loud shouts rang out. "Remnants of the Blood Bat Palace, your death is at hand." The strong, powerful voice was none other than the first formidable person of Lonely Boat City. The subalter master's expression shifted dramatically. He decisively abandoned Jiang Fan and suddenly attacked Su Yining. Su Yining's expression tightened. She immediately wielded her sword to attack, attempting to hold him off, waiting for Yi Jiafeng to make a move. But how could she match the subalter master? After only 3 to 5 rounds, he seized an opening, snatched her sword, and pointed it at her neck. He then held her hostage. "Everyone back off. Anyone dares to follow, I'll kill her." Facing Yi Jiafeng and other powerful individuals of Lonely Boat City who barged in, the subalter master held the cold sword tightly against Su Yining's neck. The sharp blade traced a bright red line on her neck. Jiang Fan, considering carefully, did not dare to rush forward. Seeing the No-One Shadow Guard so anxious, Su Yining felt ashamed of her own incompetence. Summoning her courage, she grabbed the wooden sword from the subalter master's chest and threw it to Jiang Fan. "No-One Shadow Guard, don't worry about me, don't let him escape." But Yi Jiafeng showed apprehension, saying, "We can't make a move. Su Yining is a designated disciple of the Green Cloud sect. We cannot afford any unwarranted risks. Otherwise, if the Green Cloud sect held them accountable, he as the city lord couldn't bear the responsibility." The subalter master sneered coldly, cautiously took Su Yining hostage, and gradually exited the Chen family, then mounted a horse, quickly leaving Lonely Boat City and fled into the deep mountains and forests. Yi Jiafeng gnashed his teeth. "Chase, we can't let anything happen to Su Yining." Jiang Fan blended in with the crowd. Everyone followed the subalter master's blood trail deep into the mountains. However, in front of a forked path, the group halted. Both paths were rugged mountain roads, making it impossible to determine which way the subalter master had gone. Facing such a vicious foe, they didn't dare to split their forces, fearing being picked off one by one. At this moment, the cavalry captain discovered traces of swept pine needles at one of the forks. "City Lord, there are signs here of pine needles being swept." Their eyes brightened. It seemed the subalter master had noticed his blood trail might lead to being tracked. Thus, he cunningly covered it up. "Chase!" The city lord's eyes glowed as he led the group quickly in pursuit. Jiang Fan also ran with them, however. His steps gradually slowed down. From the 2 encounters with the subalter master, Jiang Fan's deepest impression was on his cunning. Someone like that, if he wanted to cover his tracks, would hardly leave any clues, unless he deliberately left some hints to mislead the pursuers. Jiang Fan wanted to call out to the city lord and the others. Then he reconsidered, what if he was wrong? Splitting forces was acceptable in the end. If they encountered him with many people, dealing with the subalter master would not be difficult. If he encountered him, he could kill him if possible, and if not, he could delay him. Surely the city lord would soon realize and come to reinforce. Thinking along these lines, he quickly broke away from the group and pursued the other fork. In the group, Zhu Jianshan's eyes flickered. He silently chose the other fork and followed stealthily, after an hour of chasing. Jiang Fan suddenly noticed a few drops of fresh blood on the leaves by the roadside. His heart pounded. His guess was correct. This was the true path of the subalter master's escape. Moreover, the blood drops increased along the way, and Jiang Fan's eyes showed a glimmer of excitement. "It seems my sword strike was not as insignificant as the subalter master claimed." Though it didn't hit the heart, it must have injured a vital organ, otherwise it wouldn't bleed so profusely. Currently, his strength should be significantly reduced from earlier. Sure enough, following the blood trail, he arrived at the entrance of a cave. The entrance had "Cloud-Floating Cave" engraved conspicuously. Beside the cave, a horse was left abandoned, grazing leisurely on wild grass. Is this the old lair of the Blood Bat Palace? Jiang Fan was slightly stunned. He recalled the jade bead given to Su Yining at birth. The master who left the message in the jade bead had left something in the cloud-floating cave on the heaven towards mountain. Later, the cloud-floating cave became the lair of the Blood Bat Palace. Could it be a coincidence that the Blood Bat Palace occupied this place? He took a deep breath and cautiously entered the cave. After the green cloud sect's siege, the cave had been scorched, covered in ashes everywhere. He also heard the subalter master's voice. "Damn it, why won't it open?" Jiang Fan quietly approached, hiding in the shadows. He focused intently. Within the cave lay a massive square. A statue stood tall there. Su Yining was tied up nearby, but her life was not in danger. The subalter master, bleeding profusely, knelt before the statue, fumbling with the pedestal, trying to unlock something. Jiang Fan's eyes gleamed. Could it be that beneath the pedestal lay the items left by that master? Was the reason the Blood Bat Palace stayed here to uncover this secret? Suddenly, brash footsteps suddenly echoed from outside the cave, alerting the subalter master instantly. Who? Jiang Fan also frowned and looked back. He saw that the person approaching was Zhu Jianshan. Zhu did not notice Jiang Fan hidden in the dark. Seeing that the subalter master was severely injured, he couldn't help but sneer. Ha ha! The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. The subalter master's head is mine. If he brought the head back to the green cloud sect, he would receive countless rewards. You want my head? Do you think you're worthy? The subalter master looked ferocious and immediately jumped up. Such agility did not resemble someone who was seriously injured. Zhu Jianshan's eyes trembled. He forced himself to be brave and said, "I am a dignified disciple of the Green Cloud Sect, a Foundation establishment cultivator, and I'm supposed to fear an injured remnant of Blood Bat Palace." He drew his sword and charged forward, engaging in a fight with the subalter master. But as soon as they crossed swords, Zhu Jianshan realized he had underestimated the subalter master's current strength. Even though the master was injured, he was still formidable. After 10 moves, Zhu Jianshan grew increasingly alarmed. The opponent's experience was extremely seasoned, and he had narrowly escaped death several times. Jiang Fan watched from the shadows, a trace of delight in his eyes. The subalter master's power has greatly diminished. Even Zhu Jianshan can last 10 rounds against him. If it were his peak condition, his performance wouldn't be much better than Su Yining's. At that moment, the subalter master caught Zhu Jianshan's flaw and struck him hard on the right arm. Crack, instantly. His arm was shattered by the brutal force, and he flew backward, crashing beside Su Yining. Su Yining's eyes shone with hope as she said, "Young Master Zhu, don't be afraid. He's already at the end of his strength." That was his strongest display. He'll only weaken from here. Along the way, she had seen the subalter master continuously bleeding. His chi and blood had fallen to less than half. Now he was merely holding on with sheer willpower, actually having little combat strength left. But the subalter master, eyes full of hostility, charged forward. His appearance terrified Zhu Jianshan, making his scalp tingle. He had no fighting spirit left. He scrambled up and tried to run, but as soon as he turned around, he exposed his back to the subalter master. "Die," the subalter master sneered dismissively. Realizing the extreme danger, Zhu Jianshan gritted his teeth and made a surprising move. He actually hooked Su Yining with his toe and lifted her, placing her between himself and the subalter master. Without regard for what was behind him, he turned and ran. "You, ah!" Su Yining only had time to let out a soft cry before the subalter master's terrible force struck her body, causing her to let out a painful scream as she tumbled away. Zhu Jianshan did not care about Su Yining's fate at all. He ran for his life in a panic. Just as he reached the square's edge, a figure darted past him from the darkness like lightning. The figure caught the tumbling Su Yining in midair. "No one, Shadow Guard?" Zhu Jianshan was startled. Jiang Fan's eyes also glared coldly at him. Feeling guilty, Zhu Jianshan did not dare linger and immediately ran away at full speed. Soon, the sound of urgent horse hooves retreating quickly could be heard from outside the cave. "What a useless jerk!" The one who said this was the subalter master, who spat fiercely. When he turned his gaze towards Jiang Fan, although it was filled with hatred, There was no trace of disdain. He clutched the heavily bleeding wound on his chest, his body swaying as he could barely stand. As Su Yining had said, his qi and blood had fallen to half. There really wasn't much combat strength left. I never thought I'd fall into the hands of a kid who hasn't even grown all his hair yet. It's really frustrating. He staggered towards the statue, weakly kneeling in front of it. He used his hand to stroke the base. If I can unlock the mechanism here, no one can kill me, not even the Green Cloud Sect Master. Jiang Fan walked over with his wooden sword in hand. He decisively stabbed towards the Subalter Master's right chest. The Subalter Master tried his best to evade, but truly had no strength left. The earlier fight with Zhu Jianshan had already drained his final strength. With a muffled thud, the Subalter Master viciously attempted to counterattack, but didn't even have the energy to lift his palm, only managing a bitter smile towards the sky. Fine. I concede. But this secret, no one will obtain it, no one. Jiang Fan kicked him aside and looked at the statue's base. He saw the base had a circular hole in the center. There were many marks around it, evidently left by multiple attempts by Blood Bat Palace to pry it open. After a brief thought, he took out the jade pearl. He compared it and found that the jade pearl was exactly the same size as the circular hole. He attempted to fit the jade pearl into the hole. Immediately, the base of the statue rumbled loudly, activating some kind of mechanism. The entire statue, along with the base, slowly rotated, revealing a small underground chamber 3 zhang wide. In the center of the chamber, a mysterious sword emitting a purple glow was embedded. Hiss! A spiritual artifact. It's actually a top-grade spiritual artifact. The Subalter Master, who had one last breath left, widened his eyes and gasped. Jiang Fan was also astonished. The wooden sword in his hand was merely a lower-tier magic artifact. In Lonely Boat City, it was a unique existence. Even in the Green Cloud Sect, the highest tier was probably just a magic artifact. Now there was a spiritual artifact, and a top-grade one at that. He couldn't help but feel his heart race. Next, Jiang Fan spotted 2 jade boxes lying beside the purple sword. One was filled with liquid, and the other contained 2 mysterious scarlet pills. As a soul master, Jiang Fan couldn't identify them at that moment. The Subalter Master squinted his pupils and exclaimed, "The legend is true. There's rootless heavenly water here to enhance the Foundation establishment realm. And a divine object that enhances spirit root, the transcend mortality pill. With this pill, I would be a chosen one. It's mine, all mine." He struggled to crawl towards the chamber. But he ultimately died of exhaustion, unwillingly collapsing at the entrance of the chamber. His eyes were wide open, dying with unfulfilled wishes. The treasure he had pursued all his life was obtained by a mere young man. How could he rest in peace? Jiang Fan's eyes were ablaze. He was about to leap down to take them. Suddenly, there was a clamor outside the cave. The city lord had reacted and brought people to support him. He didn't have time to collect the items. Quickly retrieving the jade pearl, the statue immediately rotated, sealing the chamber again. When Yi Jiafeng arrived with his strong followers, all they saw was Jiang Fan's wooden sword slicing through the air, decapitating the Subalter Master. Many strong individuals were shocked on the spot. He killed the Subalter Master. Who exactly is No One Shadow Guard? Among the crowd, Zhu Jianshan, who had returned with the main group, regretted to the point of gut-wrenching pain. No One Shadow Guard had ended the battle so quickly, proving the Subalter Master was, as Su Yining had said, severely weakened. He had foolishly handed over a great merit to No One Shadow Guard. Damn it! But then he realized that since it was No One Shadow Guard who killed the Subalter Master, it meant that he failed in the task assigned to the Su family. HMPH, tomorrow I'll go to the Su family to demand heads. If they can't produce them, the entire Su family can expect to rot in prison. By then, Su Yoren, wouldn't she be at my mercy? Ha. Outside the cave, in the sky, on the back of a blue eagle. Chen Zhengdao and Liu Qingxian stood side by side, overlooking the scene below. With such tumult in the city, it was hard for them to miss it. This No One Shadow Guard has some skills. He's not even in the Foundation establishment realm, but managed to kill a Foundation establishment second-layer martial artist. Chen Zhengdao said with an approving tone. Liu Qingxian also looked on with admiration. Although he relied on a magic artifact and there was some luck involved, he was excellent in all aspects. He must be an old martial artist who has trained for many years, displaying outstanding performance. She then thought of Zhu Jianshan, her expression turning to disgust. By comparison, our Green Cloud Sect's outer sect disciple is just disgraceful. Chen Zhengdao furrowed his brows and said, "This Zhu Jianshan, fleeing in times of crisis is one thing, but throwing his fellow disciple to the enemy to die. Such a person will become a disaster in the future. Handle him personally." Liu Qingxian nodded. "Yes, I understand." The two observed for a while longer. They confirmed that there were no remaining Blood Bat Palace remnants in the area. Chen Zhengdao said, "Let's go. We should continue to monitor the 3-star Soul Master and that world-class prodigy from the Dragon Rising path." He rode the Blue Eagle, preparing to turn back. Suddenly, the jade pendant at his waist flashed urgently and emitted a buzzing sound. "An emergency message from the Pavilion Master." Chen Zhengdao's expression changed slightly. The Pavilion Master wouldn't send an emergency message unless it was something major. He hastily removed the jade pendant and crushed it between his fingers. The resonating buzz condensed into a short message. "Beast Tide has suddenly appeared. Return immediately." Chen Zhengdao's face changed drastically. "Beast Tide? Hiss, after 100 years is it about to appear again?" He dared not hesitate and said, "I must return to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion immediately. I cannot continue to monitor that Soul Master. And you, I believe the Green Cloud Sect will soon summon you back as well." Liu Qingxian's gaze turned grave. A beast tide was an apocalyptic disaster that no force could remain unaffected by. She nodded and said, "Uncle Chen, you go back first. I'll go find that 9-grade spiritual root and return as well." She had already lost hope in waiting for that world-class prodigy from the Dragon Rising path. She had no choice but to find the one with the 9-grade spiritual root instead. She had met the person once, and she would definitely recognize them upon meeting again. Chen Zhengdao nodded, took her back to Lonely Boat City, and then flew away on a cloud. The strong individuals of Lonely Boat City returned to the city in high spirits. That evening, City Lord Yi Jiafeng announced that the entire Blood Bat Palace subalter had been exterminated, and he held a grand banquet. The old monsters who had broken through and emerged to welcome Lu Zheng, this 9-grade spiritual root prodigy, couldn't help but come out again. They attended the banquet in person. Their purpose was naturally not for food and drink. They were curious about the young prodigy who, with his own strength, had killed the subalter master. At the banquet, Su Yining, who had woken up, looked at the no-one shadow guard beside her, being respectfully toasted by the city's strong practitioners, and felt a moment of bewilderment. They were people of the same age. Why was there such a vast difference between them? She had thought that breaking through Foundation establishment would allow her to compete with him. But in the end, she was rescued once more. Before she was knocked unconscious by the subalter master, she had seen the figure of the no-one shadow guard rushing towards her. If he hadn't acted in time, she would have most likely fallen on the steps and died from the impact. Looking at the mask in front of her, she was extremely curious about the face behind it. When did Lonely Boat City have such a prodigy that she could only look up to? Unfortunately, she would never have the chance to know, because the original purpose of the Shadow Guard team was to eradicate the remnants of the Blood Bat Palace. Now that the remnants had been cleared, after the banquet, the Shadow Guard team would disband. Feeling a sense of melancholy, she raised her wine glass and said, "Will we meet again?" Jiang Fan slightly curled the corner of his mouth. "Weren't we meeting every day?" "Fate shall decide," he replied indifferently. Su Yining felt even more dispirited, raised her glass and said, "Well, I hope we can continue to cooperate if we are fated to." "To you." Jiang Fan drank it all in one go. The Shadow Guard team disbanded silently after the banquet as expected. Yi Qingxian allowed them to keep their masks as mementos. After all, these masks represented the glory of Lonely Boat City's young prodigy. Late at night, Jiang Fan deliberately slowed his pace, waiting until Su Yining returned to the Su mansion for a long time before removing his mask in an alley. Casually, he returned to the mansion. Unexpectedly, Su Yining hadn't slept and was practicing swordsmanship in the central courtyard with a hint of drunkenness. She seemed to be venting her emotions. Seeing Jiang Fan return, her expression turned slightly cold. "Where did you go? Why are you back so late?" Jiang Fan rolled his eyes and wrote, "None of your business." Su Yining said nothing but flicked her toe and kicked up an extra sword from the ground, tossing it to Jiang Fan. "Practice swordsmanship with me." Jiang Fan held the sword, looking speechless. "Who wants to practice swordsmanship with you?" He turned to leave, but Su Yining didn't care about his agreement or not. She charged at him with her sword. Jiang Fan was both amused and exasperated. He didn't know what had gotten into her tonight. She would never have asked him to practice swordsmanship before. Seeing her thrust coming, Jiang Fan instinctively executed a lonely star points move, knocking her sword away. Yining was stunned. This sword move, why does it look just like no one shadow guards? Jiang Fan wished he could slap himself. He had forgotten to switch identities. Fortunately, Yining had drunk a lot at the banquet and was clearly tipsy, not thinking clearly. Mistaken identity. How could I possibly know no one shadow guard's sword move? He's so strong and you are just. She paused and didn't continue. Disinterested, she threw down her sword. Forget it, let's not practice. Watching her leave. Jiang Fan sighed at the moon, holding his sword, and performed the 3 moves of the 7-star sword Jiu, one after the other. His movements were graceful, and his swordsmanship was as swift as a rainbow. Back in his room, Jiang Fan threw the subaltern master's head under his bed. Then he took out a bottle of Pifu pill. It's time to break through foundation establishment. Jiang Fan was somewhat excited. Ever since the seed had sprouted, he had dreamed of successfully establishing his foundation. Only by establishing his foundation could he climb the void ancient tree to pick the mysterious fruits. With excitement, he swallowed the Pifu pill in one gulp. The powerful and fierce medicinal power raged through his body like a flood. It caused him to feel a strong and unbearable sense of expansion and pain. Hiss! So this is how painful it is to break through foundation establishment. Beads of sweat quickly formed on his forehead like beans. But thinking of the benefits after foundation establishment, he endured the severe pain. The strong medicinal power lasted until midnight. When his face was pale and his body was drenched, a spring emerged in his dantian. This was the mark of foundation establishment, a spirit pond. The spiritual power that was once stored in his meridians all liquefied and gathered in the spirit pond. At this moment, his spiritual power was already twice as high as it had been at the 9th layer Qi cultivation perfection. If I encounter someone as skilled as the subaltern master again, I dare not say I could win, but at least it wouldn't be so difficult. Jiang Fan was filled with confidence. Next, he eagerly used a unique ability that only foundation establishment martial artists possessed. Internal sight. As his eyes closed, his awareness gradually penetrated his flesh and reached deep into his internal organs, where he saw a space as black as ink. A spring was gushing water. It was the foundation establishment spirit pond. Beside the spring, a towering ancient tree pierced the sky and reached into the clouds. He excitedly approached the ancient tree. Looking at the fruit tree close to the ground, which contained the sealed profound level high mental method, the dragon seeking scripture, he couldn't help but feel parched. He attempted to leap up. This time there was no longer an invisible force suppressing him like before. He jumped lightly and grabbed hold of the fruit. With a strong pull, he plucked it off. I finally got it, Jiang Fan exclaimed excitedly. He couldn't imagine how fast his cultivation speed would be with this profound level high mental method. But at that moment, he suddenly heard a whooshing sound above his head, as if something was falling. Wang Yingfeng looked up. It turned out that when he broke the branch, another almost identical fruit fell. He instinctively caught it, feeling a bit bewildered. Pick one, get one free? He looked closely, his pupils contracting. Profound level high palm technique, wandering dragon palm? One profound level mental method was already unbelievable, and now there was also a palm technique. Even the green cloud sect might not have such high-level cultivation techniques. Jiang Fan's heart pounded fiercely as he couldn't help but look up again, trying to climb higher to pick more fruits. But after a few steps, he felt that suppressive force once more. Only core formation realm can continue to pick. A voice reminded him. Jiang Fan was deeply disappointed. He couldn't help but glance at the nearest fruit. At this glance, he couldn't look away. Lower earth-level soul technique, soul cutting 3 forms. Hiss, it's actually a soul secret technique, and it's earth level. Jiang Fan gasped. Soul techniques were undoubtedly the most mysterious and could catch an enemy off guard. They often could kill without a trace. With his exceptional soul power, if he cultivated a soul secret technique, wouldn't that be, just thinking about it made Jiang Fan's mouth dry. Unfortunately, he needed to be core formation realm to obtain it. He could only regretfully look away, focusing again on the 2 fruits in his hand. How to get the cultivation technique sealed inside them? Maybe eating them. He tried taking a bite and a portion of the technique entered his mind. Another bite and more information followed. Jiang Fan, what an unwasteful way to consume. After finishing both fruits, his consciousness returned to his body. When he opened his eyes, the fruits were gone from his palm, but his mind now held 2 complete techniques. Dragon-seeking scripture, let me see how different profound-level high mental methods are, he said, cracking his knuckles in anticipation. But at that moment, urgent knocking sounded from outside the door. Fan, Zhu Jianshan has come. Jiang Fan's eyes snapped open, and he had to set aside thoughts of cultivation for the moment. Opening the door, he found Su Yoren holding a bundle. Without waiting for an explanation, she shoved it into Jiang Fan's arms. You must leave now. Don't get dragged into Su family's troubles. Feeling the heavy bundle and glimpsing the large denomination silver note peeking out. Jiang Fan felt a warmth in his heart. This isn't just Su Yoren, it must be Su Zhengyan's intention too, right? They gave him all the valuable things of the Su family, wanting him to run away quickly. After all, he wasn't officially the Su family's son-in-law yet, so the Green Cloud sect wouldn't hunt him down. Why should I leave? Jiang Fan smiled faintly. I just want to settle a score with this young Master Zhu. A cold light flickered in his eyes. If he hadn't managed to kill the subalter master by chance, what would have been the Su family's fate? What would have become of Su Yoren? Such a person deserved a lesson, ignoring Su Yoren's pleas. He picked up the bundle from under the bed and made his way to the main hall. By now, the hall was devoid of any Su family members. Only Su Zhengyan stood there with his hands behind his back, preparing to face the great catastrophe alone. Meanwhile, Zhu Jianshan stormed in with his men, brimming with hostility. Su Zhengyan, your Su family fled rather swiftly. Su Zhengyan remained expressionless, as if seeing through all matters. At dawn, he had already dismissed all Su family members, ready to face the calamity alone. Zhu Jianshan, abusing the power of the Green Cloud sect will eventually catch up to you, Su Zhengyan said coldly. Zhu Jianshan showed a mocking smile. Retribution, at your age you still believe in such childish notions. Only useless failures comfort themselves this way. Su Zhengyan clenched his fists. He wanted to retort. But the fact was undeniable. In this world was there really retribution? What existed was, good people die young while evil persists through the ages. Zhu Jianshan pulled a chair and sat down, crossing his legs. Furthermore, I am acting on the Green Cloud sect's orders. No one can say I'm wrong. Now it's time for me to do my duty. Where is the subalter master's head? Su Zhengyan's eyes turned cold. Not here. How could the Su family retrieve the subalter master's head? Not to mention his injuries, even at his peak, Su Zhengyan couldn't possibly defeat the subalter master. Zhu Jianshan laughed heartily. Since that's the case, I can only execute my duties impartially. The Su family failed to complete the Green Cloud sect's assigned task on time. Thus, according to law, the family must be confiscated and punished. Go, seal off the Su family. Crash. His men immediately charged towards the Su mansion like wolves, faces brimming with excitement. Confiscating property was not a frequent opportunity. Su Zhengyan opened his mouth but didn't stop them. After all, the important items had already been taken away by the family members. Zhu Jianshan smirked, his expression both mocking and amused. Do you think it doesn't matter since your Su family members have already escaped with valuables? Su Zhengyan suddenly felt a bad premonition. Zhu Jianshan clapped his hands mockingly. Bring them in, let Su family master take a look. From outside, another group of people entered. Each one was carrying a prisoner, their faces bruised and swollen, hair disheveled. Among them were Wang Yingfeng, and many Su family members, all except Su Yining, were present. Su Zhengyan was shocked. Why didn't you escape? Zhu Jianshan laughed heartily. Escape? I set up an inescapable net outside Su mansion long ago. Apart from Su Yining, none of you Su family members can escape. However, it wasn't long before Zhu Jianshan stopped laughing. His face turned grim as he said, Where is Jiang Fan? Where is Su Yoren? These two were the real reasons he went to such great lengths to target the Su family. One was someone he wanted to tear apart. The other, a woman he intended to torment. But they weren't here. Suddenly, several screams rang out in succession. Following this, a figure flew out from the backyard, spewing blood, and landed heavily in front of Zhu Jianshan. Looking up, it was Jiang Fan holding Su Yoren's hand, walking over unhurriedly. Zhu Jianshan, were you looking for me? Jiang Fan picked up a note, a sneer curling at the corner of his mouth. The saying enemies meeting, eyes blazing, came to mind. Zhu Jianshan laughed coldly. Good, you've got guts, you didn't run. Then I'll fulfill your wish. Seize him. If he resists, kill him on the spot. No matter what, he wanted Jiang Fan dead. Jiang Fan expressionlessly began to write, Why are you arresting me? Seeing Jiang Fan still mouthing off at death's door, Zhu Jianshan sneered. What did you obtain the subalter master's head? If you can't, you're defying the green cloud sect's orders. If I don't arrest you, who should I arrest? Su Zhengyan felt anxious. Why didn't Jiang Fan leave when he should have? But seeing the family members all captured, he sighed helplessly. Even if Jiang Fan had left, he would have been captured and brought back. The Su family's fate was already sealed. But just when Su Zhengyan and all the Su family members felt utterly hopeless, Jiang Fan calmly dropped the bundle in his hand, tossing it in front of Zhu Jianshan. He unfolded a note. "Young Master Zhu, take a look." Zhu Jianshan was taken aback. He didn't understand what Jiang Fan meant. Staring at the slightly blood-stained bundle, he couldn't help but laugh. "You can't be saying that this contains the head of the subalter master, can you?" Ha ha ha, he had seen with his own eyes as the No-One Shadow Guard beheaded the subalter master. Unless Jiang Fan was the No-One Shadow Guard. Otherwise, where would the head come from? Jiang Fan leisurely sat down, picked up a bowl of tea, and remained expressionless. The implication was, couldn't he see for himself? Zhu Jianshan's smile deepened, laughing heartily. "All right, since you won't cry until you see the coffin, let me do you a favor. Come, let's take a look at that head. Let's see what kind of head young Master Jiang has prepared to fool us. Could it be made of mud? Ha ha ha." His followers couldn't help but burst into laughter. A confidant immediately stepped forward, unwrapped the bundle, and exclaimed in shock, "Young Master, it's really a human head." Zhu Jianshan still laughed. "Not bad, at least you used a real human head. But do you think this will deceive us? Unfortunately, I have fought with the subalter master before. I recognize his face." Upon hearing this, the Su family members' hearts sank. They also thought Jiang Fan was trying to muddle through today's matter. But they didn't expect Zhu Jianshan to be so formidable, having personally fought the subalter master. Now they were done for. Not only had they failed to deceive, but they also faced the crime of deceiving the Green Cloud sect. The charges would only be more severe. In a good mood, Zhu Jianshan grabbed the head by its hair and lifted it up playfully. "Let me take a look, is this the subalter master's head? If not, you would face even more severe punishment." However, when the swaying head steadied, revealing itself to Zhu Jianshan, that ferocious, savage face with eyes that couldn't rest in death terrified Zhu Jianshan to the core. In his mind, he immediately recalled the other man's ravenous look during their duel. "Ah!" he screamed in fright and tossed the head away. The sudden action stunned everyone, both the Su family members and Zhu Jianshan's followers. What happened? Hadn't he seen a head before? Why was he so scared? Jiang Fan calmly sipped his tea, casually picked up a pen, and wrote with a faint smile. "Looks like young Master Zhu recognizes it." Zhu Jianshan, still traumatized. He looked incredulously at the head again, and no matter how he looked, he could confirm at a glance that it was indeed the subalter master's head. Looking at Jiang Fan's sarcastic words, his face showed anger, and he said, "This is impossible. I saw with my own eyes that the head was cut off by the No-One Shadow Guard. Why is it in your hands?" Everyone was astonished. The head was actually real, but since it was killed by the No-One Shadow Guard, how did the head end up in Jiang Fan's hands? Jiang Fan smiled slightly, raised a pen, and wrote, "That's none of your concern. The task you gave to the Su family was merely to bring the subalter master's head. How they acquired it is none of your business." Upon hearing this, the Su family members were suddenly revitalized. Su Zhengyan said joyfully, "Yes, as long as the task is completed. The Green Cloud sect has always been this way regarding task assignments. They only care about the result, not the process. Even if we hired the No-One Shadow Guard, you have no right to ask. Release my family members immediately, or I will report you to the Green Cloud sect." Zhu Jianshan's followers, feeling guilty, immediately released the Su family members, not daring to trouble them further. It was indeed the case in the past. Some tasks were extremely difficult, and the families burdened with such tasks had to spend a fortune to hire experts for assistance. The Green Cloud sect never expressed any objections to this practice. It was considered an unspoken rule. However, Zhu Jianshan couldn't accept it. He had tried so many times, yet still couldn't handle the small Su family. "Who told you to release them?" Zhu Jianshan raised his hand and slapped a follower, sending him flying. His eyes turned slightly red with rage as he glared at Jiang Fan. "I don't care about the rules of the Green Cloud sect. My rules are the rules. I want the head that the Su family personally obtained. I won't accept any other. Seize the Su family members. Anyone who resists will be killed without mercy." The Su family was both furious and terrified. Su Zhengyan shouted, "Zhu Jianshan, you are outrageous." He never expected Zhu Jianshan to be so audacious, disregarding even the rules of the Green Cloud sect. Zhu Jianshan kicked the stool he was sitting on. His hair bristled with anger and he shouted, "So what if I'm outrageous? This is Lonely Boat City and my words are the law. Even the King of Heaven himself couldn't change that." With that, he took a step forward and struck fiercely at Su Zhengyan. Su Zhengyan was furious and couldn't hold back any longer, engaging in a fight with him. But Zhu Jianshan, as a disciple of the Green Cloud sect, had the upper hand, while Su Zhengyan was still injured. After just 3 moves, Su Zhengyan was sent flying several meters away, spitting blood. Zhu Jianshan surveyed everyone with a murderous look. Who else wants to resist? Step forward. The Su family members were scared stiff. Even Su Zhengyan, the strongest among them, had been injured. What chance did they have? Without hesitation, the followers pounced on the Su family members like wolves. Suddenly, a follower who rushed towards Su Yoren fell back with the sound of bones breaking, screaming in pain. Zhu Jianshan turned his head to see. He found that Jiang Fan had intervened, yet he didn't get angry. Instead, he smiled, revealing a vicious grin. "Good, very good," openly defying the Green Cloud sect's order. "Today, I, Zhu Jianshan, will enforce the sect's rules and sentence you to death." He couldn't wait for Jiang Fan to make a move. Only then could he kill him with legitimacy. Jiang Fan put down his teacup, stood up, and looked at him coldly, casually writing on a piece of paper. "You," Zhu Jianshan laughed in anger. "When did a worthless person like you dare to question a Green Cloud sect disciple like me? Fine, today I'll show you the might of Zhu Jianshan." With that, his fist, wrapped in a fierce wind, struck out forcefully. Su Zhengyan watched in alarm, shouting, "Fan, run quickly!" Su Yoren's face turned pale as she cried out, "Don't try to be brave, get out of the way." A strike from a Foundation establishment realm expert. How could Jiang Fan withstand it? Zhu Jianshan sneered, "Think you can run? Too late. You were foolish to challenge me, Zhu Jianshan." "Die." Jiang Fan stood still. He didn't move a muscle, only when Zhu Jianshan's fist was 3 inches from his chest. Jiang Fan raised his palm at a leisurely pace, catching the fist effortlessly. Zhu Jianshan smirked inwardly. Such inexperience. To catch a fist with a palm, expecting not to break fingers. He smiled viciously and suddenly exerted force, intending to make Jiang Fan feel the pain of broken fingers. However, the next moment his smile vanished. A stream of purer spiritual power surged from Jiang Fan's palm, flooding into his fingers. As Jiang Fan's fingers clenched like iron, they gripped his fist tightly. He couldn't muster any strength. At the same time, Jiang Fan finally looked him in the eye, his gaze cold and detached, as if saying, "Surprised, aren't you?" Zhu Jianshan tried to pull back his fist. But to his surprise, he found that his fist, belonging to a Foundation establishment martial artist, was easily gripped by Jiang Fan. What's going on with you?" He started to panic, only now remembering that he had another fist available which he swung at Jiang Fan. But it was too late. Jiang Fan exerted force with his arm, causing Zhu Jianshan to lurch forward. Then he delivered a powerful knee strike to Zhu Jianshan's abdomen. Blurg, in an instant. Zhu Jianshan curled up like a shrimp, retching uncontrollably from the pain. He was enraged. As a disciple of the Qingyan sect, how could he be easily trounced by someone who was once considered trash? "Enough," he roared, releasing a surge of Foundation establishment spiritual power. "Star-breaking finger." He even used his cultivation technique. And it was a yellow-level mid-tier technique. Jiang Fan remained calm and collected, even leisurely writing a note. "Incompetent fury." After speaking, he casually used his movement technique and with unexpected speed closed in on Zhu Jianshan. He slapped Zhu Jianshan across the face. Zhu Jianshan couldn't believe that even after using his movement technique at his peak state, he was still slapped. The stinging pain fueled his anger. Seething with rage, he screamed, "I'll kill you." Smack, he was met with another resounding slap. Fuming, Zhu Jianshan yelled, "You must die, you have to die today." Smack, it was yet another slap. No matter how Zhu Jianshan deployed his powers with pride, the outcome was always another slap casually delivered. Jiang Fan, smack, "I'll fight you to the death." Smack, "I will kill your entire," smack, "I will," smack. The entire Su family was dumbfounded. They stared in shock at the bizarre scene unraveling before them. All the retainers around were also frozen, as if they had seen a ghost, no longer daring to apprehend the Su family members. In the reflections of their eyes, the once arrogant Zhu Jianshan, a Qingyan sect disciple with Foundation establishment cultivation, was getting slapped outside the main hall, step by step, by Jiang Fan. No matter how Zhu Jianshan resisted, he was relentlessly slapped in return. In the end, his cheeks were a bloody mess, his nose bleeding profusely, his entire face unrecognizable. Zhu Jianshan finally realized he was no match for Jiang Fan. He gritted his teeth and ran away with a look of hatred in his eyes. Before leaving the main gate, he glared venomously at Jiang Fan. "Fine. Jiang Fan, you wait for me. One of us has to die. Just wait for the Zhu family's thunderous wrath." Jiang Fan's eyes flashed coldly. With a swift step, he leaped to pursue. Leaving the Su family, he used his full movement technique with no reservations, and soon he cornered the menacing Zhu Jianshan in a secluded street. Zhu Jianshan muttered incessantly, "I will kill that guy, I'll kill him." All his life, he had never suffered such humiliation. But then a clear voice came from behind. "You're not getting the chance." Jiang Fan had caught up, speaking with an indifferent expression. Zhu Jianshan turned his head and saw it was Jiang Fan. Realizing something was wrong, he exclaimed in shock, "You're not mute." With a cold face, Jiang Fan drew his wooden sword, pointing it at him from afar. "Since one of us must die, then you go ahead and die." Seeing the wooden sword, Zhu Jianshan's face changed dramatically. "Isn't that the No One Shadow Guard's sword? Why is it with you?" Suddenly, a terrifying thought surfaced in his mind. He shivered, stammering, You are the No One Shadow Guard. But how could this be? One was a widely known former waste. The other was a prodigious warrior of Lonely Boat City, who could slay a Foundation Establishment second-layer martial artist as a Qi Cultivation ninth-layer genius. The two were worlds apart. How could they be the same person? Jiang Fan said coldly, "Congratulations, you guessed it." He slowly took out a mask and put it on. The number 1, representing invincibility, made Zhu Jianshan gasp. Shaking in fear, he said, You really are No One Shadow Guard." "Impossible, impossible, this can't be." Unable to accept it. How could the waste he once looked down upon be the No One Shadow Guard he could never surpass? Jiang Fan's voice grew colder. "From the moment you first laid eyes on Su Yoran with ill intent, you were destined to die. But you didn't know any limits, repeatedly challenging my bottom line. Now no one can save you." With that, he flashed and leaped forward, unhesitatingly initiating his swordsmanship. Zhu Jianshan's soul nearly fled from terror. Having witnessed the No One Shadow Guard's terrifying skills firsthand, he knew just how formidable his opponent was and fled in terror. But it was no use. His back was exposed and full of flaws, and this time he wasn't so lucky to find anyone to cover for him. Jiang Fan's sword struck down, however, at that moment, a bird dove down from the sky. Standing atop it was a woman dressed in purple, with an elegant and tall figure stunningly beautiful. She frowned and said, "Stay your hand." Seeing her, Zhu Jianshan was overjoyed, as if a drowning man grabbing a lifeline. "Senior Sister Liu, save me, this person is rebelling." Jiang Fan's pupils shrank slightly. This person was Liu Qingxian from the City Lord Mansion. She had even left a projection in the Dragon Rising path. She was also from the Qingyun sect. Could it be she intended to protect Zhu Jianshan? With this thought, he didn't stop. Instead, he accelerated his strike. Unexpectedly, Liu Qingxian shouted, "How dare you? Stop immediately." The killing intent in Jiang Fan's chest deepened. With not a hint of hesitation, he resolutely executed 7 stars to the north. A chill of icy light pierced through Zhu Jianshan's chest from top to bottom, skewering his heart. Zhu Jianshan staggered forward a few steps due to inertia. With his heart destroyed, his body gradually lost strength and he collapsed to the ground. Gasping for breath like a fish out of water, he called out in despair, "Senior Sister Liu, quick, save me." Liu Qingxian descended from the bird. She promptly inspected him. Finding that the sword had precisely pierced his heart, she knew he was beyond saving. Her eyes turned cold as she looked at Jiang Fan. "You have quite the audacity to dare kill a Qingyun sect disciple." Liu Qingxian exuded an overwhelming spiritual power. Zhu Jianshan deserved to die, but he should have died under the Qingyun sect's rules, rather than being casually butchered by an outsider. The nature of the two situations was entirely different. Jiang Fan remained unafraid, coldly saying, "He deserved to die. I was merely cleaning the house for the Qingyun sect." Liu Qingxian's eyes narrowed coldly. "We don't need your interference. I would have dealt with him myself. You, merely relying on being older and having learned more for decades, dare to wantonly kill a Qingyun sect disciple. Considering your merit in killing the subaltern master, I'll overlook it this time. If there is a next time, you will be executed without mercy." Older. "Who is she talking about, me?" Jiang Fan rolled his eyes and retorted, "You're the old one." "Old woman," Liu Qingxian was taken aback. "You're quite funny." You're in your 30s or 40s and you're calling me someone in their 20s an old woman. How absurd. At this moment, Su Yining came running over, gasping, Senior Sister Liu, Zhu Jianshan. Senior Sister, did you execute him yourself? It turned out Liu Qingxian was called by Su Yining. After she explained the Su family's situation, Liu Qingxian was furious and decisively came to deal with the cancerous Zhu Jianshan. It was him, Liu Qingxian gestured with her mouth. Su Yining looked up and was surprised. No one shadow guard? She rushed over, eyes sparkling, introduced herself eagerly. It's me, Notu Shadow Guard, I'm Su Yining. Sir, what's your name? Can you tell me your real name? Liu Qingxian showed a look of surprise. You call him sir? Su Yining was puzzled by the question. Aren't we of the same age? Is it wrong to call him sir? What, same age? Liu Qingxian looked at Jiang Fan in shock. Isn't he a man in his 30s or 40s? Fan's forehead veins were bulging. What 18-year-old boy could tolerate being called an uncle? You're the one who's an uncle, you old woman. Su Yining realized that Liu Qingxian had misunderstood something. She explained. Senior Sister Liu, our Shadow Guard team is composed of youth prodigies from Lonely Boat City. The oldest among us is no more than 18 years old. Hiss. Liu Qingxian took a breath of cold air and looked at Jiang Fan in disbelief. 18 years old at the 9th layer of Qi Cultivation, and he killed a Foundation establishment's 2nd layer alone. She couldn't even come close to that when she was his age. She and Chen Zhengdao had subconsciously thought that no one Shadow Guard was so formidable due to years of cultivation and extensive experience. But he was actually just 18. Wait, Liu Qingxian suddenly shivered, her eyes burning. Not long ago, was it you who defeated my, Chen Zhengdao's, and Yun Tianzhu's projections on the Dragon Rising path? Jiang Fan said calmly. So what if it was? Liu Qingxian's heart pounded wildly. It was him. It really was him, the prodigy of the Dragon Rising path. She was ecstatic. What you seek is already in front of you, requiring no effort to find. You really made me search hard for you, seeing her alternating between shock and laughter while muttering incomprehensible words. Jiang Fan couldn't help but feel uneasy. He glanced at Zhu Jianshan to confirm he was completely dead, then decisively walked away. Wait, don't go! Liu Qingxian hurriedly chased after him. Her pursuit only made Jiang Fan more anxious. He decisively executed solitary wild goose shadow to its extreme, jumping onto the rooftop, and then flashing through the streets, disappearing without a trace. Liu Qingxian chased for a bit but couldn't catch up. She couldn't help but be surprised. What's going on? With my cultivation, I couldn't catch up with him. Did he use a movement technique? Movement techniques are extremely difficult to comprehend, and not many in the Green Cloud sect have succeeded. Could it be that his comprehension is extraordinary? Su Yining curiously caught up and asked in astonishment. Senior Sister Liu, why are you chasing him? Liu Qingxian replied. Deputy Pavilion Master Chen and I have been waiting for him to appear for almost half a month. His potential could directly elevate him to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, with future achievements not inferior to my father's. What? Su Yining covered her red lips, her beautiful eyes filled with shock. She knew that no one Shadow Guard was extraordinarily talented. But hearing Liu Qingxian say it, she realized just how extraordinary he was. The daughter of the Green Cloud Sect Master and the Vice Pavilion Master of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion had been waiting for him to appear for half a month. An uncontrollable admiration surged within her. I must thoroughly investigate who no one Shadow Guard really is. Liu Qingxian's eyes gleamed. For such a prodigy, she was determined to obtain him. Su Yining was also deeply curious about no one Shadow Guard's true identity. I will help Senior Sister investigate as well. Soon after, in the Zhu mansion, sounds of wailing were everywhere and Jiang Yuqiu was crying her eyes out. Shen, my Shen, you died so tragically. Beside her squatted a young man she didn't know. Young Master Zhang, you must seek justice for my Shen. Jiang Yuqiu pleaded. You are an inner sect disciple of the Green Cloud sect, only you can seek justice for us. Just a moment ago, the City Lord Mansion's soldiers brought back Zhu Jianshan's body and conveyed the City Lord's message. Zhu Jianshan deserved to die, and the matter was resolved. But Jiang Yuqiu couldn't just let it go after her son died inexplicably. It just so happened that the inner sect disciple Jiang Fan, who had always protected Zhu Jianshan, came to retrieve the fire spirit pearl. Jiang Fan, meticulous as ever, inspected Zhu Jianshan's body with a solemn expression. This person's swordsmanship is extremely advanced, swift and precise, killing with one strike. It seems junior brother Zhu provoked a formidable opponent. Then he noticed something. Zhu Jianshan's sleeve had a line of words written in blood. Despite being crooked, upon close inspection it was identifiable. "Don't provoke Jiang Fan." "Who is Jiang Fan?" Jiang Qingxian asked. Zhang Yuqiu quickly looked over perplexed. "Jiang Fan. Su family's son-in-law, a useless person. Why would Shen leave a message not to provoke him?" She couldn't believe that Jiang Fan had killed her son. Zhang Qingxian's eyes flashed with cold light. "It doesn't matter who he is. Since my junior brother mentioned his name before dying, he cannot be unrelated to junior brother's death. Coincidentally, I have to visit the Su family to prepare for my master's arrival. I will interrogate this Jiang Fan. As for the message, don't provoke Jiang Fan," Zhang Qingxian dismissed it entirely. He was an inner sect disciple of the Green Cloud sect. Zhu Jianshan was merely an outer sect disciple. The person Zhu Jianshan couldn't afford to offend, Zhang Qingxian could, unaware that he had caught the attention of Zhang Qingxian. After dealing with the Su family's major threat, Jiang Fan returned to his room calmly, eager to practice the dragon-seeking scripture. As soon as he started this mental method, he sensed its extraordinary nature. The speed of absorbing spiritual energy was more than 5 times faster than before. The spiritual energy within the Su family's range surged towards him, continuously increasing the spiritual power in the spirit pond. However, in the foundation establishment realm, advancing in cultivation became much more difficult. Even with such a powerful mental method, a full day of cultivation only yielded a slight improvement. At this rate, it would be hard to break through to the second layer of foundation establishment within a month. Suddenly, he thought of the Dragon Rising path. It was said that performing well would yield rewards. Last time he stopped at the 11th level. If he successfully challenged it again, would there be a reward? Filled with anticipation, he once again arrived at the Dragon Rising path, donned the No One Shadow Guard mask, and began the challenge. First layer, second layer, third layer. 8th layer, 9th layer, 10th layer. When he defeated Yun Tianzhu at the 10th layer, he looked relaxed. Last time it took hundreds of exchanges. This time he managed it in just 2 or 3 moves. He solemnly stepped into the 11th layer. The projection was a handsome young man with an elegant demeanor. "Nangong Ligun, Foundation Establishment First Layer, please instruct me." The two quickly engaged in battle. Jiang Fan immediately felt immense pressure. Both in the Foundation Establishment realm, he used a yellow-level high-grade swordsmanship, but even after dozens of moves, they were evenly matched. The opponent's battle experience was extremely seasoned, not inferior to his own. His moves were orderly, showing no flaws. The cultivation technique practiced was far superior to Jiang Fan's. Several times, Jiang Fan almost lost. Fortunately, he relied on the support from his movement technique to continue the fight. Finally, after 200 exchanges, he found Nangong Ligun's flaw and defeated him with 1 strike. Jiang Fan dripped with sweat, utterly exhausted. "What's going on? The projection at the 11th layer is ridiculously stronger." He felt that this opponent was even tougher than the subalter master at the 2nd layer of foundation establishment. However, the effort was worth it. As the projection dissipated, a snow-white medicine pill appeared on the ground. "This is a low-grade foundation establishment pill?" Jiang Fan was overjoyed. This was something unique to the Green Cloud sect, capable of enhancing the cultivation of martial artists in the foundation establishment realm. It wasn't available outside at all. He immediately swallowed it and began cultivating on the spot. As the pill entered his stomach, a powerful medicinal force transformed into dense spiritual energy, entering the spirit pond. The spiritual power inside increased at a visible speed. When the effect of the pill wore off, his cultivation level had improved by a whole 10%. Jiang Fan couldn't help but marvel. 1 low-grade foundation establishment pill is 10 times more effective than a night of hard cultivation. If it were a top-grade foundation establishment pill, one would be worth 100 days of cultivation, right? He glanced at the 12th layer. Without hesitation, he left. The 11th layer was already so challenging, not to mention the 12th layer. Coming downstairs, he thought for a moment and murmured, "I'll prepare some qi cultivation liquid and a mental method for Su Yoren." Just as he left, Liu Qingxian and Su Yining arrived at the site. Liu Qingxian, feeling her projection break, hurried over. Su Yining, looking at the departing figure of No One Shadow Guard, lamented. Too late by a step, but Liu Qingxian's eyes sparkled. "Who is Su Yoren?" She heard it very clearly. No One Shadow Guard said he wanted to give Su Yoren qi cultivation liquid and the mental method. What kind of relationship would make someone willing to help Su Yoren? The answer was almost obvious. The question was to find out who Su Yoren was. Su Yining was stunned. Su Yoren is my sister. Liu Qingxian was shocked. Your sister? Then does she have any young man by her side? Su Yining looked confused. She didn't know why Liu Qingxian asked this, but still answered honestly. My sister maintains herself well. There are no young men by her side. Only her fiancé, Jiang Fan? Jiang Fan. Liu Qingxian's eyes lit up. Then do you think it's possible that Jiang Fan is no one's shadow guard? Him? No one's shadow guard. Su Yining shook her head vigorously, adamantly replied. Impossible. If he was no one's shadow guard, I would be the heavenly mechanism pavilion master. Then she recounted all of Jiang Fan's experiences from her perspective. After listening, Liu Qingxian was stunned. So mediocre. Then he isn't no one's shadow guard. However, it does explain why your sister Su Yoren's cultivation improved rapidly. It's because no one shadow guard is secretly helping her. Hearing this, Su Yining felt a mix of emotions. Complex because no one shadow guard favored her sister so much, making her feel a bit envious. Also complex because her sister wasn't as devoted as it seemed, having such a deep connection with no one shadow guard behind Jiang Fan's back. She suddenly felt a bit sorry for Jiang Fan. Liu Qingxian pondered for a while, then said, Take me to the Su mansion. Call Jiang Fan and your sister out. I will question them in person. Maybe I can find some clues about no one shadow guard. Just then, the jade pendant on her waist also made a sound. After crushing it, it formed into a sentence. There is an issue at the sect. Return immediately. Liu Qingxian's face turned a bit unpleasant. Why at this moment? It must be something related to the beast tide. Just when they were about to trace no one's shadow guard, but the beast tide was a significant matter, she had to leave. While thinking, a method crossed her mind. Why not recruit Su Yoren into the Green Cloud sect? With no one shadow guard favoring Su Yoren so much, he would surely find a way to come to Green Cloud sect, right? The more she thought about it, the more feasible it seemed. She then asked, Su Yining, it is Elder Li Qingfeng coming to take you back to the sect, right? Su Yining didn't understand why she suddenly asked this. Feeling proud, replied, Exactly, Elder Li, he will come in a few days. Liu Qingxian nodded, smiled mysteriously. Then she summoned a flying beast and directly soared back, speaking of Jiang Fan. Returning to Su Mansion, he found Su Yoren diligently scrubbing the floor. The servants in the mansion were also busy cleaning. Places they usually ignored were spotless. What's going on? Jiang Fan asked in a low voice. Su Yoren, brimming with joy, said, The predetermined elder from Green Cloud Sect for my sister is coming to our home. My sister is about to enter Green Cloud Sect. Jiang Fan was moved. Having witnessed the difficulty of cultivation in the Foundation establishment realm, he realized that for further advancement, Lonely Boat City couldn't provide the necessary resources. He had to go to Green Cloud Sect for greater development. He wondered if his Foundation establishment realm cultivation would catch Elder Li's eye. But if he left, what about Su Yoren? Yoren, come here. He quietly took out a few bottles of top-grade Qi cultivation liquid and an unsealed dragon seeking scripture. For the next few days, don't do anything else, focus on cultivation. You should try to see if Elder Li will take you back to Green Cloud Sect as well. Su Yoren felt both like crying and laughing. Green Cloud Sect values aptitude more, not really the current realm. With my second-grade spirit root, how could I catch Elder Li's eye? Nonetheless, seeing Jiang Fan's sincere expression, she didn't want to hurt his good intentions. She had to accept and said, Then I will go and cultivate now. Watching her get down to cultivation obediently. Jiang Fan didn't intend to relax either. He remembered the treasure under the stone sculpture in Cloud-Floating Cave, and after packing some simple rations, headed into the mountains alone. Half a day later, Jiang Fan successfully opened the statue. Once again, he saw the treasure inside, a sword and 2 jade boxes. He set aside the sword and the 2 transcend mortality pills for now. Grabbing the jade box containing rootless heavenly water, he carefully tasted a drop. Instantly, a surge of powerful spiritual energy flooded into the spirit pond, increasing his cultivation a bit. Jiang Fan was astonished. Just 1 drop is equivalent to a whole night of silent cultivation. His eyes filled with anticipation. He immediately started practicing the dragon-seeking scripture, coordinating it with the rootless heavenly water as he sat cross-legged. 3 days later, the jade box's rootless heavenly water was completely gone. Jiang Fan had successfully broken through to the 3rd layer of the Foundation establishment realm. What amazing stuff, it directly broke through 2 layers. Jiang Fan exclaimed joyfully. However, theoretically, rootless heavenly water should only allow breaking through one realm. The reason for the extra layer was due to his mysterious spirit root and the dragon-seeking scripture. They maximized the absorption of all the spiritual energy in the rootless heavenly water. Not a single bit was wasted. This is what allowed him to break the limit, gaining an extra layer. He clenched his fists, a strong sense of power surged within him. Then, he looked at the transcend mortality pill and thought, "My spirit root is sufficient. I'll take it back to Yoren, see if it can improve her spirit root." Lastly, he looked at the top-grade spiritual artifact, the purple sword. He grabbed it in his hand. Immediately, a heavy pressure made him almost fail to hold the sword. So heavy! Jiang Fan was quite shocked. If not for breaking through to the third layer of the Foundation establishment realm, he might not be able to wield it. I wonder what's special about this sword? Jiang Fan thought while making a nice sword move towards the statue in front of him. Due to its heaviness, his moves looked clumsy. It doesn't seem any special, still not better than the thunder-patterned spiritual wood sword. Jiang Fan felt disappointed. The wooden sword at least had the effect of electrocuting enemies and was very light. This so-called top-grade spiritual artifact was extremely heavy and had no special features. However, just as he spoke, he felt a shadow pressing down in front of him. Looking up, he was startled. He saw the huge statue inexplicably breaking, crashing down at him. He hurriedly used his movement technique, leaping away swiftly. Rumbling, a large pile of rubble hit his back, causing sharp pain. Turning back, he saw the statue had fallen, its head shattered into pieces. So close! Jiang Fan broke out in a cold sweat. What happened? Why did the statue suddenly collapse? Getting closer to inspect, his face turned strange. He saw several intricate cuts at the statue's broken part. They were smooth as a mirror, like tofu being sliced open, and the arcs of those cuts were exactly like those made by his nice sword move. No way. Jiang Fan looked at the shimmering purple sword in his hand, unable to believe it. He had only performed a sword flourish in the air just now. He jumped onto the statue. Holding the purple sword, he slashed at the statue forcefully. Bang, a sharp cracking sound suddenly came, and the statue broke into two. Jiang Fan gasped. He looked at the purple sword in shock. Its ability is to release sword chi from a distance, and such powerful sword chi that it can easily cut through stone. For a moment, he was incredibly delighted. With this sword in hand, paired with the 7-star sword Jiu, the destructive power would be off the charts. The only flaw was that the sword was too heavy. It was very cumbersome to use. One must have an extremely strong physique to wield it perfectly. Do I have to do body refinement? Jiang Fan showed a bit of hesitation. Father once said that the martial path, specifically body techniques, is the most difficult because it requires far more resources than cultivating a technique. It's as hard as climbing to the sky to improve body techniques in Lonely Boat City. I must go to the Green Cloud sect. Next, he ensured the 2 transcend mortality pills were secured. The purple sword was then wrapped in a cloth to prevent its purple glow from attracting attention. But at this moment, a feeble and elderly cry came from outside the cave. Is anyone there? Is anyone there? Help me, please help me. In such a deep mountain forest and in the heart of the Bloodbat Palace's lair, how could someone be asking for help? He immediately hid in the shadow of a crevice in the rock. Before long, an old man with disheveled hair and covered in blood ran in panic-stricken. He scanned his surroundings, found no one, and couldn't help but sigh to the sky. I thought the noise in the cave was someone. My life is over. Moments later, a towering giant man like an iron tower walked into the cave. His naked torso was smeared with strange patterns. As he walked, the ground rumbled under his steps. He looked like a moving mountain. Can't run away now, can you? The giant man grinned, revealing a sinister smile. Steal our giant sect's iron blood true scripture, and even if you run back to the Green Cloud sect's territory, you must die. Jiang Fan's heart trembled. Giant sect? Isn't that one of the 9 major sects under the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion? It was the most powerful of the 9. And also the farthest from the Green Cloud sect, separated by several other sects. How had the giant sect's people chased him into Green Cloud sect territory? The fleeing old man angrily shouted, Su Gangli, you are utterly shameless. The Iron Blood True Scripture was my reward for 18 years of alchemy for your giant sect. As an inner sect disciple of the giant sect, a righteous sect, you dare to kill for treasures. The Iron Blood True Scripture in the giant sect was a confidential technique that only elders could view. As an inner sect disciple, Su Gangli had coveted it for a long time. Upon seeing this old man who had retired and returned home receive it as a reward, Su Gangli devised his wicked plan. Heh, what righteous sect! In this world, power is the ultimate principle. Su Gangli's eyes glowed fiercely as he stepped toward the old man. Now you have two choices: hand over the iron blood true scripture, and I will let you die quickly. Otherwise, I will torture you until you do. Jiang Fan held his breath, his gaze steady. He had no intention of intervening. The dispute over treasures between these two had nothing to do with him, and this inner sect disciple of the giant sect was extremely formidable, giving him a sense of oppression many times stronger than that of the subalter master. There was no need to take risks. However, Jiang Fan's heart skipped a beat. He keenly noticed that Su Gangli glanced at his hiding spot out of the corner of his eye. He immediately sensed danger. Though Su Gangli appeared to be moving toward the old man, he suddenly kicked a fist-sized rock towards Jiang Fan's direction. He had been discovered. Jiang Fan did not hesitate, swiftly pulling out his wooden sword and deflecting the incoming rock with a sword move. His palm throbbed with pain. He was shocked. This person's strength was terrifying. The force in just a rock kicked from afar was this potent. If he were kicked at close range, his bones wouldn't just break, he could be fatally wounded. Oh, a bit of skill. Su Gangli squinted, coldly looking at Jiang Fan as he slowly walked out of the crevice. Able to take one of my hits, you've got some ability. Are you a Green Cloud sect disciple? Seeing Jiang Fan's youthful appearance and strength, he guessed his identity. Jiang Fan didn't want to complicate things. Yes, I didn't see anything that happened here. Su Gangli smiled and cupped his hands. Then I thank you. The 9 sects are like brothers. We should look out for one another. Though he spoke this way, Jiang Fan remained extremely cautious. He slowly backed away, never letting his guard down. When he reached the edge of the plaza, Su Gangli could no longer restrain himself and snorted. You're quite shrewd. He had never intended to let Jiang Fan leave. The old man was a soul master who had worked for the giant sect for many years. If he killed him and stole the iron blood true scripture, how could he let anyone else know? His solicitous words were meant to lower Jiang Fan's guard, then deliver a fatal blow. Unexpectedly, Jiang Fan was so cautious, giving him no opportunity. Seeing him near the edge of his attack range, Su Gangli could no longer hold back, revealing his true nature. As he spoke, he delivered a sweeping strike. A large number of rocks shot over like cannonballs. Fortunately, Jiang Fan was prepared. He swung his wooden sword repeatedly, deflecting all the rocks. Taking advantage of this opening, Su Gangli, who seemed clumsy, charged with astounding speed, leaping with a long stride and came down with a move like Mount Tai pressing down. Feeling the rapidly pressing shadow above him, without thinking, he immediately used his movement technique, narrowly dodging it. Rumble! Where he had stood was crushed a foot deep by Su Gangli's massive body, cracks spreading like spider webs. If he had been hit, he would have died. Jiang Fan was shocked but did not hesitate, turning and stabbing with his sword. Lonely star points, however. The sword only left a white scratch on his skin, like a scrape. What a hard body. Su Gangli laughed heartily. A broken wooden sword, trying to break through my body. Then my 10 years of Vajra invincible training would be wasted on a dog. The distant old man also hurriedly reminded. Young hero Su Gangli practices body refining techniques. Be sure not to let him get close. Do you need to say that? Jiang Fan was speechless. He calmly used his movement technique, always keeping his distance, and struck again with his sword. 3 stars illuminating the moon. Swish. The powerful sword move slashed his arm, leaving only a whiter scratch. If that's all you've got, you can die now, Su Gangli sneered. Jiang Fan's eyes flashed, suddenly shouting. 7 stars to the north. The third move was the essence of the 7-star sword Jiu. The strongest move, slice. With a sound of tearing fabric, the wooden sword cut into his chest, cutting through the tough skin, slashing the flesh. Blood immediately gushed out. Hiss! Su Gangli gasped in pain, yet Jiang Fan's heart sank heavily. If it had been an ordinary person, this sword would have disemboweled them long ago, but for Su Gangli, it merely cut through a layer of skin. It didn't even touch the bone. This man's physique was unbelievably strong. Su Gangli wiped the bloodstains on his chest, finally enraged. You dog, you dare to wound me? With a loud bang. His powerful legs pushed off and his whole body pounced forward. From a distance, he looked like a giant toad. Jiang Fan couldn't dodge in time, yet he remained calm, displaying 7 stars to the north once again. Su Gangli roared, die! Ignoring the pain, he grabbed the wooden sword with both hands. Little did he know, Jiang Fan had been waiting for this moment. Without any hesitation, he suddenly activated the wooden sword's electric shock effect. Crackling, a continuous current instantly surged into Su Gangli's body. His body twitched violently and fell stiffly from midair, lying motionless on the ground. He was truly like a toad. But what made Jiang Fan's scalp tingle was the current that could make an ordinary person stiff for over 3 breaths. Su Gangli had only stiffened for a moment before recovering. He angrily climbed up, forcefully snapped the wooden sword into 2 pieces, and threw them harshly at Jiang Fan's feet. "Little bastard, now you should die, right?" With that, he transformed into a blur and charged at Jiang Fan. To Jiang Fan, it felt like a mountain was crashing into him. The elder let out a desperate cry, "Dodge quickly!" He could almost see Jiang Fan's fate. One collision and he would surely turn into a blood mist. Jiang Fan also felt a chill in his heart. This was his last chance. He drew the purple sword from his back with a reverse grip, not even having time to unravel the cloth wrapping. He slashed towards the charging Su Gangli from a distance. The movement was clumsy and slow. It elicited a sneer from Su Gangli. "You can't even hold the sword properly, and you still dare to?" As he spoke, Su Gangli froze. He realized that the distance between him and Jiang Fan had suddenly stopped closing. Moreover, he saw in his line of sight a lower half of a body, with only the legs left, continuing towards Jiang Fan by inertia. Finally, just as it was about to reach Jiang Fan, it fell with a thud, and his own body dropped heavily to the ground, looking down at his body. His lower half was gone. Immediately, the delayed pain struck so fiercely that he let out a scream of agony. "Ah, ah, my body, splurt. He didn't suffer for long. Jiang Fan unhesitatingly pierced his throat with a sword, ending his life. Until his death, he never understood what had just happened. That was close. Jiang Fan wiped the sweat from his forehead, showing a look of relief. If it weren't for obtaining the purple sword, he feared he would have met his end here today. It's just a pity about the thunder-patterned spiritual wood sword. He picked up the broken wooden sword, heart aching. It had accompanied him for so long and had often helped him out of dangerous situations. Today it was caught in the crossfire and met an untimely end. The disheveled elder walked over with an apologetic expression, saying, "I'm sorry, young hero, I didn't deliberately lead him to you. It was just a survival instinct. Let me compensate you with some silver." Jiang Fan glared at him coldly. "Who cares about your silver? You almost cost me my life. Do you think a simple apology will suffice?" Suddenly, he recalled Su Gangli's mention of the Iron Blood True Scripture. "Copy the Iron Blood True Scripture for me, and we'll call it even." The old man's lips trembled. After a brief thought, he gritted his teeth and said, "All right, I must repay the favor of saving my life." The reason he hadn't handed over the Iron Blood True Scripture to Su Gangli was that once he did, he would be killed. But the Jiang Fan before him didn't seem like a heartless villain. So he pulled out an iron scroll covered in dense writings, which was a body refinement technique. Jiang Fan glanced at it, his pupils contracting involuntarily. A profound-level lower-grade body refining technique. The old man squatted down to copy, speaking with some pride. "This is the giant sect's top-level body refining method, watched only by elders and the sect master otherwise. Why do you think Su Gangli chased me into the Green Cloud sect territory?" Jiang Fan, however, caught the implication. "Watched. What, no one practices this body refining method? Is there a problem with the technique?" Also, he was puzzled. If it was the top-level technique, why was an outsider able to take it away? The elder's old face stiffened. This kid was really sharp. He had immediately noticed something wrong. So he sighed helplessly. "There's no problem with the technique. It's just that it requires a lot of resources. Look for yourself what it takes to practice the first layer." Jiang Fan looked closer, his face turning peculiar. "4th-level spirit pills, 10 fierce tiger pills," the elder said. "Now you understand why no one practices this technique. The fierce tiger pills, only a 4-star soul master can refine them. But where can you find a 4-star soul master? Not to mention the giant sect, even the heavenly mechanism pavilion doesn't have one. So this technique is as good as useless, just for show." The elder remembered his pursuit ordeal. He felt quite aggrieved. "I must have been out of my mind to think of this as a reward. You can't practice it, and it attracted pursuit. I nearly lost my old life. Young man, you can take it back to read, but don't practice it. Without the fierce tiger pills, it's useless even if you try." Jiang Fan rubbed his chin, saying nothing. The fierce tiger pills, others couldn't refine them. But he could. He could practice this technique without any trouble. Suppressing his excitement, Jiang Fan nonchalantly went to check Su Gangli's body. He found quite a few items. However, Su Gangli followed the path of body refinement, so there were no cultivation techniques or foundation establishment pills. But there was a bag of shiny crystal stones that caught his attention. Su Gangli was quite wealthy. He actually had 100 mid-grade crystal stones, which is equivalent to 1,000 low-grade crystal stones. The elder glanced over, becoming instantly envious and swallowing hard. Crystal stones? Jiang Fan looked at the elder with surprise. The elder was taken aback. Young hero, doesn't the Green Cloud sect use crystal stones? In the Ninth Sect, it's hard to measure various high-value heavenly materials and earthly treasures with silver. Therefore, crystal stones are the standard currency. Jiang Fan let out an "oh" and pocketed the loot. Soon the elder finished copying the technique, checking to ensure every word was correct, then he put it away. Farewell. The elder also got up to leave, but suddenly he swayed and fell to the ground, his vision going black. Jiang Fan paused his steps and said, "What's wrong with you?" "All old problem, nothing serious." The elder struggled to breathe, pulling out a bottle of medicine from his bosom only to find it broken. All the pills inside had been lost during his escape. He was instantly thrown into a panic. Jiang Fan frowned. With the thought of helping to the end, he went over to check the elder's pulse and smelled the medicine bottle. "So it's a problem with your meridians." He searched the elder's belongings, found the necessary materials. A short while later, he had refined a few pills, fed one to the elder and placed the rest beside him. When the elder woke up, Jiang Fan was already gone. "He saved me, but my spirit pills were all gone. Where did he get them?" Spirit pills can only be refined by soul masters. At this moment, he glanced at the spirit pills before him, and his pupils contracted involuntarily. "Pill, this can only be refined by at least a 3-star soul master. That young man is actually a 3-star soul master." He was utterly shocked. A 3-star soul master, that's a significant figure in the heavenly mechanism pavilion. And that young man is one of them. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would never have believed that a 3-star soul master could be so young. For a long time, he couldn't calm his shock. Knowing that it was not safe to stay there for long, he quickly left. As he passed by Su Gangli's body, he sighed. "You really didn't die unjustly. That was a 3-star soul master, often unfathomable at such a level. To think you attacked him, you really must not have valued your life." Not long after, he returned to the Qin family. Qin Changsheng led a group of clansmen kneeling to welcome him. "We welcome the old master back." It turned out he was the old master of the Qin family, Qin Wenyuan, a genuine 1-star soul master. There wasn't the slightest hint of a smile on his face. Instead, his face was stern as he questioned, "Why is business so poor? What are you doing?" Before returning to the mansion, he had specifically checked the various shops of the Qin family, finding their business to be very bad. Far from what it used to be. Qin Changsheng tearfully explained, "Old master, you may not know, but the Chen family invited a powerful soul master who took away more than half of our business. I heard that soul master is also planning to train a group of soul master apprentices for the Chen family, specifically to refine low-grade foundation establishment pills, intending to cut off our Qin family's livelihood." Upon hearing this, Qin Wenyuan's face darkened. "Training soul master apprentices to cut off our Qin family's livelihood? Such arrogance? I must see for myself who this person is." Qin Changsheng was overjoyed and asked, "Old master, how will you deal with him?" Qin Wenyuan narrowed his old eyes and said, "Isn't he recruiting people with qualifications to train soul master apprentices? I will respond to his call and listen to what he is capable of." Su Mansion. Jiang Fan had just returned and found the mansion renewed. Everyone was busy. Su Yining had also changed into a brand new outfit. Usually barefaced, she had added a touch of makeup to welcome the most important day in her 18 years of life. Jiang Fan was surprised and wrote, "What's this?" Su Yining originally didn't want to pay attention to Jiang Fan, but she couldn't hold back her great mood. Moreover, she wanted to show off in front of Jiang Fan. "Elder Li is arriving at our Su family today." Jiang Fan was slightly surprised and wrote, "Wasn't it a few days later? Why was the time suddenly changed?" Su Yining also showed a puzzled expression. Previously, Li Qingfeng had notified them it would be 5 days later, but for some reason he suddenly changed the time and rushed to the Su family. After thinking for a while, she guessed, "It should be because I broke through to the foundation establishment realm. Elder Li is so pleased that he wants to accept me into the Green Cloud sect ahead of time." This explanation made sense. However, Jiang Fan still felt something was odd. Elders of the Green Cloud sect, which one of them wasn't busy with numerous affairs. Many things were arranged in advance, so how could they disrupt the arrangement suddenly? Fan, you're back. Su Yoren, holding a rag, was surprised. Where have you been these past few days? Seeing her doing the servant's work again, Jiang Fan instantly became furious and wrote, I told you to cultivate, what are you doing? Su Yoren glanced at Su Yining beside her and whispered, I stopped just now to help out. Fan, be honest with me, what exactly is the liquid you gave me? And the new mental method, what level is it? Why did I break through again and am now at the 8th layer of Qi cultivation? Her face showed unease. The cultivation speed was too fast. It was almost like divine assistance. Jiang Fan's mouth twitched. In the whole world, only this silly girl would worry about cultivating too quickly. With top-grade Qi cultivation liquid and a high-level profound mental method, it was hard for Su Yoren not to progress quickly. He didn't explain but took out a transcend mortality pill, handed it to her and wrote, Swallow it. Su Yining saw this from the side. Curiously, she asked, Fan, what good thing are you giving to my sister now? Jiang Fan turned and handed her a note. Do you want one too? Knowing her limitations, Su Yining snorted. Who wants your stuff? I'm about to become a disciple of the Green Cloud sect. What doesn't the Green Cloud sect have? Jiang Fan wrote, That's the best. I wouldn't give it to you anyway. Su Yining was instantly angered, her chest heaving, biting her silver teeth. For some reason, she now cared more and more about Jiang Fan's attitude. Before, she had treated him like air. Su Yoren said, Fan, don't you have another one? Give it to sister. Being given charity by Jiang Fan again, Su Yining angrily said, I don't want it. It's definitely not a good thing, sister. You'd better not eat it. Be careful, it'll upset your stomach. Su Yoren felt a headache. She didn't know what was wrong with her sister. Why was she always bickering with Jiang Fan recently? For the past 10 years, hadn't they gotten along well without interfering with each other? Looking at the pill in her palm, she didn't hesitate and swallowed it. Jiang Fan looked expectantly. How do you feel? Do you notice any changes in your body? Su Yoren shook her head, puzzled. No. After thinking a bit, Jiang Fan understood. The transcend mortality pill improved the quality of the spirit root, not physical changes. Therefore, even if there were changes, the body wouldn't show it. A treasure that made the subalter master die with regrets must be extraordinary. Are you all ready? My master will be here soon. A clear voice came from outside the door. Jiang Fan walked in quickly. Su Yining's eyes lit up and she ran up respectfully. Senior brother Jiang. Jiang Fan looked at the beautiful and alluring Su Yining and couldn't help but show a hint of heat. When he followed Liu Qingxian to Lonely Boat City to investigate Su Yoren, he had seen her once. At that time, he was amazed by Su Yining's beauty, and it left a deep impression. Half a year had passed. Seeing her again, she still amazed him. Junior sister, are you all ready? Su Yining nodded. Please, senior brother Jiang, point out any deficiencies. Jiang Fan glanced around, slightly nodded. It looks clean, no issues. At this moment, he noticed Jiang Fan. He couldn't help but ask, who is this? Su Yining replied unhappily, my sister's fiancé, Jiang Fan. So he was Jiang Fan. A trace of hostility grew in his eyes. Before, with Zhu Jianshan's offerings, he could get a few fire spirit pearls every year. Now that Zhu Jianshan was dead, he had nothing. This Jiang Fan must have been involved in Zhu Jianshan's death. Junior sister Yining, our master's appearance is not for just any random person to see. This Jiang Fan looks disreputable at a glance. Get rid of him. Su Yining frowned. Although she disliked Jiang Fan, how was he disreputable? But considering Liu Qingxian was coming, she had to let Jiang Fan give in. Jiang Fan, go to the back courtyard. Don't come out today. Jiang Fan gave Jiang Fan a stare. He left without saying a word. Su Yoren also wanted to go with him, but Su Yining stopped her. Sister, you should stay. What if Elder Li takes a liking to you? Jiang Fan sneered, thinking Jiang Fan wasn't good. Neither was his fiancée. Let her leave as well. Su Yoren hadn't planned to stay. She gave Jiang Fan a cold look and left holding Jiang Fan's arm. At this moment, Jiang Fan noticed Su Yoren's stunning beauty. He couldn't help but regret it. Su Yining's sister was even more beautiful than her. What a beauty wasted on this trash. At that moment, a bird swooped down and landed in the middle of the courtyard. Standing atop was a middle-aged man in blue robes, elegant as a celestial being with a scholarly face. He exuded an awe-inspiring aura. Su Zhengyan led a group of clansmen to welcome him immediately. All members of the Su family welcome Elder Li. Liu Qingxian jumped down, his gaze swept through the Su family members quickly. When he saw Su Yining, he paused briefly before looking away. His focus lingered among the female members of the Su family. After looking around, he frowned and murmured, "Which one is Su Yoren, as mentioned by the young sect leader?" A few days ago, Liu Qingxian received a summons and hurriedly returned to the Green Cloud sect. The first thing she did was not to report to the sect master, but to find him. Li Qingfeng remembered it clearly. Liu Qingxian was excited and said that the Su family in Lonely Boat City had an extremely important woman who must be taken into the Green Cloud sect. The sect master's daughter had personally issued the order, so how could Li Qingfeng refuse? Thus, he changed his schedule and arrived at the Su family ahead of time. Under Su Zhengyan's enthusiastic invitation, he sat down in the hall. After a round of pleasantries, he couldn't help but ask with a smile, "Yining, introduce these clan members of yours." Su Yining was thrilled, and the Su family members all stood tall with quiet excitement. Undoubtedly, Li Qingfeng also wanted to investigate the Su family's other members in passing. If there were any who caught his eye, he would take them back to the Green Cloud sect as well. Su Zhengyan was secretly excited and quickly said, "Yining, hurry and introduce them to Elder Li." Su Yining nodded. "Elder Li, these are my parents. This is the elder of my family. This is my cousin, Su Xiangyang. This is my younger cousin, Su Wenqing. This is," she introduced them one by one. Li Qingfeng patiently listened to all the introductions. He couldn't help but be surprised. Are all Su family members here? Where was Su Yoren? Could it be that there was another Su family in Lonely Boat City? Had he come to the wrong place? Su Yining hesitated and glanced at Jiang Fan, saying, "Reporting to Elder Li, I have an older sister named Su Yoren." The stone in Li Qingfeng's heart fell away, and he asked, "Is she not in the family?" The hall suddenly quieted down. Everyone turned to look at Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan was stunned. No one had expected that the master would care so much about Su Yoren. Under many gazes, Jiang Fan dared not lie and had to answer, "Reporting to Elder, I had her avoid the meeting." "What?" Li Qingfeng abruptly stood up. He had never seen Liu Qingxian care so much about a person in his life. Moreover, Liu Qingxian had said something that shocked him immensely. If he could recruit Su Yoren as a disciple, the Green Cloud sect would become the #1 sect among the 9 sect in the future. Such an important disciple, and his foolish apprentice had made her avoid the meeting. If Liu Qingxian found out, she would be thunderously furious, right? He couldn't help but be angry and slapped him across the face, harshly scolding, "Who gave you permission to send her away?" "You fool! Get out of my sight!" Jiang Fan trembled in fear. In all the years under his master's tutelage, he had never seen his master this angry. He dared not delay and bent over, hastily retreating from the hall and leaving the Su family. The people in the hall didn't even dare breathe loudly. Su Zhengyan swallowed nervously and whispered, "Yining, quickly go fetch your sister for Elder Li to meet." Soon after, Su Yoren returned, looking bewildered. Jiang Fan accompanied her by her side. From what Su Yining said, Jiang Fan was also puzzled. It seems that Elder Li specifically came to find Su Yoren. But she has never been in the Green Cloud sect site. So how does Elder Li know about her existence? Moreover, her previous strength was quite ordinary, so it should be hard for anyone to notice her. Jiang Fan scratched his head in confusion, then suddenly thought, could it be someone was attracted to her beauty? Upon reflection, that seemed most likely. "No, I also need to find a way to enter the Green Cloud sect," Jiang Fan murmured worriedly. As Su Yoren arrived, Li Qingfeng's smile grew even warmer and he became exceedingly kind. "Are you Su Yoren?" This attitude made Su Yining feel a bit downcast. Even Li Qingfeng hadn't been this kind to her. Why did he seem to care so much about her sister? She was the officially designated inner sect disciple, wasn't she? Su Yoren was so nervous that she didn't know where to put her hands, stammering, "Yes, I am Su Yoren." Li Qingfeng, with a curious look, gently said, "Don't be nervous. I came to accept you as my disciple. Are you willing to join my sect?" "What?" Everyone in the hall, without exception, was utterly surprised. Just seeing her face and asking her name. No testing of her spirit root, no probing of her cultivation, and yet he directly accepted her as a disciple. Su Zhengyan was initially stunned, then became overjoyed and hurriedly said, "Yoren, quickly bow to your master." Having 2 daughters join the Green Cloud sect, how glorious was that? Su Yining felt unbalanced within. Why? She was a pride of the heavens, having gone through numerous evaluations to finally gain approval. But her sister, just by showing her face, was directly accepted as a disciple. The obvious disparity made her feel uncomfortable inside. While Su Yoren was at a loss, Jiang Fan patted her shoulder, giving her an encouraging look. He had always worried that Su Yoren wouldn't make it into the Green Cloud sect. Unexpectedly, Elder Li accepted her directly. Su Yoren hurriedly knelt down to perform the apprenticeship ceremony. Li Qingfeng, smiling, helped her up gently, saying, "No need for such formalities. Sincerity is what counts in acknowledging a master. You don't need all these elaborate rituals." Su Yoren respectfully said, "Li, master." Li Qingfeng laughed heartily, stroking his beard, and took out a bracelet from his chest, imbued with a faint spirit light. It was a magic artifact. "A gift for our first meeting, take it." Su Yoren, delighted, accepted it. "Thank you, master, thank you, master." This scene made Su Yining feel even more bitter. Su Zhengyan noticed and said, "Elder Li, shouldn't my younger daughter also formally recognize you as her master?" Previously, she was only designated as a disciple. Because it wasn't yet the day the Green Cloud sect recruited disciples, she hadn't officially been accepted yet. Now it was time. Li Qingfeng seemed to have just remembered Su Yoren and nodded slightly. "Yining, you should also acknowledge me as your master." Su Yining, joyous, bowed to pay her respects, imitating her sister. Unexpectedly, Li Qingfeng frowned slightly. Noticing this, Su Zhengyan's face changed slightly, and he quickly poured a cup of tea to give to Su Yining, reproaching, "Elder Li's status is highly noble. Quickly kneel down with the tea for the ceremony." But when her sister acknowledged the master, it wasn't like this. Why was it different for her? She bit her red lips lightly, took the tea, and knelt respectfully on the ground, bowing deeply and offering the tea. "Please, master, have some tea." Li Qingfeng nodded, took the tea lightly, and said, "From today onwards, you will be my disciple. Rise." Su Yining stood up and moved aside, but waited for a long time. She still didn't receive a gift like her sister did. She felt immensely wronged. Why was this? Li Qingfeng wasn't specifically here to accept her as a disciple. Why did it seem like he came for her sister and she was just incidental? Li Qingfeng's gaze flickered between the two sisters and then said, "My disciples are divided into true disciples and inner sect disciples. As the name suggests, true disciples receive more personal guidance from me. Inner sect disciples will be granted enough resources, but their cultivation will depend more on themselves. Each year, I can only accept one true disciple." This made Su Yining feel somewhat better. After all, she had been designated as a true disciple from the start. "Therefore," Li Qingfeng paused, "this year I will accept Su Yoren as a true disciple. Su Yining, endure it for now, and next year I will make you a true disciple." Yining couldn't believe her ears. "Master, didn't you decide long ago that I would be the true disciple? Why did it go to my sister?" Regarding Liu Qingxian's words, he couldn't disclose much and could only say tactfully, "There are some things I can't explain clearly. I can only tell you that your sister is more suitable to be the true disciple." Seeing Su Yining's eyes redden with grievance, he comforted her. "How about this? You will be an inner sect disciple in name. In reality, I will treat you like a true disciple. How about that? Besides, you two are sisters, not outsiders. Why bother about a title?" Su Yining's eyes reddened even more. If it were before, she could have let it go, since after all they were sisters. But now, she glanced at Jiang Fan. Though Jiang Fan had no expression on his face, she felt that he must be gloating inside, laughing at her. From the beginning, being a true disciple was her pride, her glory, her capital to boast in front of Jiang Fan. Now, this honor had been given to someone else. She must be a joke in Jiang Fan's eyes. She had to take it back. "Master, I do not accept this." Su Yining gritted her teeth and said, "Why does my sister get to be the true disciple? You haven't even tested her spirit root." Su Yoren also felt guilty and quickly said, "Master, let my sister be the true disciple. I am not worthy of being a true disciple. Being an inner sect disciple is already a great fortune." Li Qingfeng also felt a headache. With Su Yining's qualifications, there was no problem in becoming a true disciple. But Su Yoren was the disciple chosen by the sect master's daughter. How could he neglect her? At this moment, Jiang Fan stepped forward and presented a note to Li Qingfeng. "Elder Li, why not test Su Yoren's spirit root?" Su Yoren anxiously tugged at Jiang Fan's sleeve. "What are you doing? I can't stand the embarrassment." With her second-grade spirit root, how could she manage? Jiang Fan, however, smiled and picked up a brush. "I believe Yoren has the qualifications to be the true disciple." His words carried a hint of confidence. The transcend mortality pill that the subalter master sought for over a decade couldn't have been for just a single-level improvement, right? Su Yoren's current spirit root was at least 4th grade, not far from Su Yining. More than enough to be a true disciple. Oh, Li Qingfeng looked at Jiang Fan in surprise. Then he looked at Su Yining's stubborn face and thought for a moment, saying, "All right then, Su Yoren's spirit root needs to be tested anyway. We'll just test it in public." He took out a palm-sized disc and said, "Su Yoren, place your hand on it and the spirit root level will appear." Su Yoren's face reddened as she said reluctantly, "Master, my spirit root is very low." Li Qingfeng said, "It doesn't matter, no matter how low, you are still my disciple." Helpless, she could only walk forward with a heavy heart and place her small hand on the disc. Her face was full of dejection. She could already imagine the embarrassing scene when the second-grade spirit root was revealed. Su Yining stared intently at the disc. She had to see for herself. If Su Yoren was revealed to have a second-grade spirit root, would Li Qingfeng still have the face to let her be the true disciple? The disc spun for a while, then stopped. It projected a beam of light floating in midair as clear text. "Seventh-grade spirit root," with a sudden move. Li Qingfeng abruptly stood up from his chair, his eyes shining brightly. "Seventh-grade spirit root? Su Yoren, you have really surprised your master." He originally thought Su Yoren's aptitude would definitely be poor, but it turned out to be an existence that even surpassed Su Yining's sixth-grade spirit root. The Su family was equally shocked. They uttered cries of astonishment. Su Yoren herself was also dumbfounded. "Fan, what is going on?" The changes in her must have been brought by Jiang Fan. Was it those mysterious liquids? Or the spirit pill she just ate? Step, step, step. Su Yining staggered backward, her beautiful face turning pale in an instant. She couldn't accept it and kept shaking her head. "Impossible, impossible. This can't be. How could you have a seventh-grade spirit root?" Su Yoren, a bit scared by her frenzied state, stepped behind Jiang Fan. This caught Su Yining's attention to Jiang Fan. Thinking about her sister's changes, which started ever since she and Jiang Fan were betrothed, she guessed the reason. More than once had she seen Jiang Fan secretly give Su Yoren mysterious liquids. And that spirit pill in the jade box just now, obviously very precious. It was Jiang Fan. It must have been Jiang Fan who brought these changes to her sister, turning her former second-grade spirit root sister into someone superior to her. Understanding everything, Su Yining broke down. Tears that had been welling up in her eyes fell like raindrops. "Jiang Fan, why did you do this to me?" Why, she asked 3 times, then ran out crying. Jiang Fan was speechless, muttering, "What did I do to you? This is absurd." Su Yoren, however, looked guilty. She understood her sister's thoughts, sighed deeply. "She doesn't blame you. She blames herself for pushing you to my side. Everything I have today was supposed to belong to her." Jiang Fan realized. But he shook his head slightly, gently hugging her shoulder. "No need to blame yourself. Everything was her own choice." Li Qingfeng observed the relationship between the two. He couldn't help but frown slightly. He said, "Su Yoren, I still have to find that person with the 9th-grade spirit root in the city. In the next few days, prepare well, and when I find this person, you will follow me back to Green Cloud Sect." Su Yoren's heart tightened. She looked at Jiang Fan beside her and said, "Master, can you also take Jiang Fan as a disciple?" Li Qingfeng looked Jiang Fan up and down and said, "Let's test his qualification first. If it's acceptable, I might consider taking him as a disciple." He handed the disc to Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan took it and infused it with spiritual power without hesitation. He was a bit worried. This disc was clearly cruder in detecting sensitivity than the bronze ruler. Would it fail the detection again? What he feared came true. Soon the words "no spirit root" projected into midair. Li Qingfeng shook his head and said, "Unfortunately, even though I am an elder of a sect, I have no right to take someone with no spirit root into the sect." Su Yoren anxiously said, But Jiang Fan already has cultivation." "Oh," Li Qingfeng's eyes showed surprise. Stroking his beard, he said, "No spirit root, yet he has cultivation? Such a thing unheard of." Su Zhengyan also hurriedly said, "Elder Li, it's absolutely true. Jiang Fan not only has cultivation, but it's quite notable." "Notable?" Li Qingfeng merely smiled. In his eyes, only cultivation above foundation establishment barely counted as a martial artist. Qi cultivation realm was merely child's play. How far could a person with no spirit root go? At most, by consuming heavenly materials and earthly treasures, they might reach the 3rd or 4th layer of Qi cultivation. However, to convince Su Yoren, he nodded and said, "Then I will give Jiang Fan a chance. Show me your cultivation." Su Zhengyan said excitedly, "Jiang Fan, give it your all." After going through so much, he had come to fully trust Jiang Fan. He couldn't feel at ease leaving his daughter with anyone else. Only in entrusting her to Jiang Fan did he feel completely reassured. So if Jiang Fan could join the Green Cloud sect, that would be the best. Su Yoren was also so nervous that she gripped the hem of her skirt, even more anxious than when she had her own spirit root tested. Jiang Fan took a deep breath. He knew that the moment to decide his fate had come. If he couldn't enter the Green Cloud sect, it would be very difficult for him to have a great future in this life. Moreover, he wouldn't be able to move forward together with Su Yoren. Therefore, he held back nothing and publicly unleashed the immense spiritual power of the Foundation Establishment Third Layer. Li Qingfeng sensed it with an expressionless face. In his heart, he already had a draft of how to phrase it to dispel Jiang Fan's notion of entering the Green Cloud sect. At the same time, he wanted to make it less upsetting for Su Yoren so that she would willingly follow him back to the Green Cloud sect. Suddenly, a surge of spiritual power from the Foundation Establishment realm made his heart jump. Sensing the source of the spiritual power, he couldn't help but stand up in surprise. Foundation Establishment Third Layer. A person without a spirit root could cultivate to the Foundation Establishment Third Layer. He couldn't help but suspect that the disc might be broken and had detected the wrong aptitude. Such a young Foundation Establishment Third Layer would be considered a prodigy even in the Green Cloud sect. He took out a new disc and eagerly said, "Please retest your spirit root." Jiang Fan nodded and also expectedly tested again, but the result was still no spirit root. Li Qingfeng stared at those 3 words in a daze for a long while, unable to understand. How did Jiang Fan break through to such a high realm? Could it be one of those legendary, extremely powerful demonic pills or methods that deplete potential? After much thought, that seemed to be the only possibility. Such a life-sacrificing crooked path had very serious drawbacks. He immediately dismissed any notion of accepting Jiang Fan. But Su Yoren pleaded, "Master, Jiang Fan's kindness to me is as great as a mountain. If he can't go to the Green Cloud sect, then I won't go either." Li Qingfeng felt helpless. After much deliberation, he proposed a compromise. "How about this? I'll give Jiang Fan another chance. Before leaving, I'll have my disciple Jiang Qingxian assess his strength. If he can withstand 10 moves from Jiang Qingxian, then I will acknowledge his ability to enter the Green Cloud sect." "What do you think?" Su Yoren couldn't help but turn pale. Jiang Qingxian was a long-time disciple under Li Qingfeng. His cultivation had reached the 4th layer of the Foundation Establishment. The cultivation techniques he practiced were far superior to those at Lonely Boat City of the yellow-level medium rank. Jiang Fan's realm was 1 level lower, and his cultivation techniques were several levels behind. Even enduring 3 moves would be extremely difficult, let alone 10 moves. Li Qingfeng was clearly not willing to let Jiang Fan enter the Green Cloud sect. Jiang Fan, however, was delighted. No matter how difficult it was, at least it was a rare opportunity. He quickly wrote, "I accept the challenge." Li Qingfeng nodded with a smile. "Good. If you can't pass, don't blame me for not giving you a chance. Also, I hope you'll advise Su Yoren not to delay her lifelong cultivation due to a moment of sentiment." Jiang Fan nodded in agreement, writing, "Agreed." After Li Qingfeng left with a smile, searching for 9-grade spiritual root. Su Yoren was anxious and kept pacing. "Fan, how could you agree? Jiang Qingxian's cultivation is so deep. How can you withstand his 10 moves easily?" Jiang Fan thought about the high palm technique, wandering dragon palm. He hadn't yet had time to cultivate. Confidence flashed in his eyes. "Give me 3 days and I will have confidence to battle him." What he said was a battle, not just enduring 10 moves. How could Su Yoren believe it? She sighed. "Then try to build a good relationship with Jiang Qingxian. Hopefully he will go easier on you during the assessment." Jiang Fan agreed on the surface. As soon as he went out, he prepared to go to the Dragon Rising path. The best way to quickly cultivate a technique is through actual combat. Unexpectedly, just as he reached the gate, he saw Jiang Qingxian, still bearing the marks of a slap on his face, looking irate. "Why did you hide Su Yoren's matters? Making me get slapped by our master. You did it on purpose, didn't you?" Jiang Fan looked puzzled. He wrote, "Who held their nose in the air and wanted to drive me and my wife out without saying a word. No one forced you to do that, right? Got slapped, but instead of reflecting on yourself, you blame others. No wonder your master calls you stupid." Jiang Qingxian clenched his fists in anger, shouting, "Outrageous, how dare you speak to me like that?" Jiang Fan was fearless. "Want to fight me? Who's afraid of whom?" Jiang Qingxian really wanted to pin him down and beat him up. But having just angered his master, he didn't dare to make a scene outside the Su family's gate. He glared at Jiang Fan with hatred. "After my matchmaking and I deal with my tasks, I'll teach you a lesson." Jiang Fan looked thoughtful. "Matchmaking. Chen Silin recently also had to go for matchmaking. Chen Yuqiu even asked him to keep an eye on it. So many people are matchmaking recently. Not thinking too much, he turned and headed straight for the Dragon Rising path. To avoid trouble, he wore the mask of the No One Shadow guard and rushed in, going all the way up. When he reached the 9th floor, suddenly he heard strange low cries near his ear. "Jiang Fan, I'll kill you. I'll carve you into pieces. I'll cut you to death." Frightened, he quickly retreated from the illusion realm, staring closely. He saw Su Yining standing on the 9th floor with a tear-stricken face, slaughtering Chen Zhengdao's projection in the illusion realm. But she kept muttering Jiang Fan's name. She must be insane, Jiang Fan thought, covering his forehead with black lines. Chen Zhengdao's projection was not something easily broken. Soon she was defeated and thrown out. Her eyes were red as she prepared to rush back in to continue the battle, but then she noticed someone standing beside her. Turning her head, she saw the mask with the character 1 engraved on it. She immediately showed a look of surprise. Then she realized what she had just been muttering and blushed. "Did you hear everything?" Jiang Fan's mouth twitched. He wasn't deaf. "I won't interfere with your matters," he said casually. Su Yining hurriedly explained, "There's nothing between him and me, don't misunderstand." She was so nervous that she didn't know what to say. Being able to meet the No One Shadow guard again was beyond her expectations. But meeting in such a way was truly embarrassing. Looking at her tear-stricken face, Jiang Fan thought deeply, "Do you want to cultivate a movement technique?" Since obtaining that jade bead, he had explored its cultivation technique, as well as the astonishing discoveries under the statue. He felt somewhat guilty. These were all actually left by that master for Su Yining, yet he had taken them all. Why not teach her a movement technique to make up for it? Su Yining's face turned red in an instant. "You teach me a movement technique? Really?" Jiang Fan didn't say much. He grabbed her hand and closed his eyes. Su Yining's heart instantly sped up, her face turning rosy and her red lips pressed tightly in embarrassment. She also closed her eyes. Both of them entered the illusion realm where Chen Zhengdao was. Jiang Fan said, "I want to teach you the solitary wild goose shadow. It's quite challenging. You should watch and learn carefully." He taught her hand in hand. Su Yining had good comprehension, and after half a day she showed progress. "You finish this part. I'll come back tomorrow to continue teaching you." After saying this, he went to the 12th floor to challenge. The projections here were even stronger, of the same foundation establishment 3rd layer. They completely overpowered Jiang Fan. After barely over 100 moves, he was defeated. Of course, this was due to Jiang Fan intentionally not using the purple sword or his movement technique. He only used the wandering dragon palm, constantly honing his palm technique. By dusk, he walked back with a tired body. Passing by the treasure pavilion, he saw a sign recruiting apprentice soul masters and remembered an important promise he had forgotten. He immediately went to the Chen family. Of course, he didn't forget to change his clothes. Soon, at the Chen family's backyard, Chen Silin respectfully said, "Senior, all the apprentices we recruited that meet the criteria are here." Jiang Fan looked at each of them one by one. When his eyes fell on an elder with a neat and tidy appearance and a kind face, he paused slightly. He felt that this old man looked somewhat familiar. "What's your name?" Jiang Fan asked. Qin Wenyuan showed a respectful look and smiled. "Reporting to the Lord, my name is Qin Wenyuan." Fan pondered over the name. In his memory, he didn't know this person. Why did it seem familiar? Never mind, forget it. "Which of these people do you prefer?" Jiang Fan asked. Chen Silin pointed at Qin Wenyuan. "This old gentleman once worked for several years as an apprentice to a soul master in another place. He is very familiar with various materials and also understands the alchemy process well." Jiang Fan nodded. "All right, you come over here, I'll teach you first." Qin Wenyuan repeatedly cupped his hands, his face full of joy. Thank you, sir. But he was sneering inwardly. He wanted to see what kind of great person the Chen family had invited. Want to cut off the Qin family's lifeline. He'd first have to see if Qin Wenyuan agreed. Jiang Fan said, "The reason ordinary people can't become soul masters is that their souls are not strong enough. But according to my method, you can use weak soul power to crudely purify materials to achieve the purpose of refining low-grade qi cultivation liquid." Qin Wenyuan outwardly appeared respectful. "I respectfully listened to the elder's guidance." Jiang Fan nodded and began teaching Qin Wenyuan using the methods from the Taiyin soul technique. Not long after, Jiang Fan was slightly surprised. "You've grasped it so quickly." Seeing Qin Wenyuan skillfully refine a bottle of low-grade qi cultivation liquid, he couldn't help but be amazed. You have a natural talent for alchemy. Jiang Wenyuan forced a smile. My talent is average, it's just that a soul master apprentice can easily achieve this. Honestly, what you taught is not as good as what I learned before. As soon as he said this, the other candidates all cast doubtful looks at Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan heard the provocation in his words and slightly narrowed his eyes. It seems you are not very convinced by me. Jiang Wenyuan cupped his hands and said, as the saying goes, seeing is believing. I haven't seen your prowess, so how can I be convinced? He found it impossible to believe that a small place like Lonely Boat City would have a 3-star soul master residing in it. Such a person, wouldn't they all be influential figures? Why stay in Lonely Boat City and train soul master apprentices for the Chen family? Jiang Fan glanced at him and then at the restless candidates, then said indifferently, very well, I shall refine a bottle of Qi Cultivation liquid. Jiang Wenyuan had a smirk on his face. This was the moment he had been waiting for. He intended to use his decades of professional knowledge to find fault with Jiang Fan. If this person was not as good as him, he wouldn't hesitate to humiliate him, making it impossible for him to continue. If he was slightly better than himself, that was also fine. Every soul master had their own bad habits. He would find faults and criticize the person until the plan to train soul master apprentices fell apart. Jiang Fan didn't waste words. He proficiently picked up the materials. At his current level, he had reached the pinnacle of skill. He didn't even need a pill furnace, starting the purification directly in his palm. Seeing this, Jiang Wenyuan laughed out loud. No pill furnace, and you call this alchemy? Alchemy, alchemy. At least you need a vessel for alchemy, right? Refining directly in the palm? This was unheard of. The dust, smells, sweat, and so on from the hands would all affect the effectiveness of the materials, ultimately leading to a downgrade in the Qi Cultivation liquid's grade, possibly resulting in a direct failure. The fact that this person was refining Qi Cultivation liquid with his hand made Jiang Wenyuan relax. What great person! Just a fraud who deceived the world. He knew nothing of alchemy. But gradually, Jiang Wenyuan could no longer laugh. He saw the materials in Jiang Fan's hand gradually become transparent, like an ice sculpture. As the spiritual power in his palm vibrated, the transparent materials shattered into fragments. The juice inside was squeezed out and dripped, while the residue was blown away. Jiang Fan picked up a jade bottle with his other hand, casually and quickly collecting all the juice. In a moment, a bottle of exceptionally clear Qi Cultivation liquid without any impurities appeared. Jiang Wenyuan took a sharp breath. Top-grade Qi Cultivation liquid. This can only be refined by a 4-star soul master. It turned out the person in front of him was not just a 3-star soul master. He was actually a 4-star soul master. Only now did he understand. The other person didn't use a pill furnace, not because he didn't know alchemy, but because for low-level liquids like Qi Cultivation liquid, he didn't need a pill furnace. Even using his bare hands, it was top grade. Jiang Fan glanced at him indifferently. Any more questions? Jiang Wenyuan's body trembled. The person in front of him was a 4-star soul master, a 4-star. Such a supreme existence was not even found in the heavenly mechanism pavilion. What qualification did he have to encounter such a sacred being? Immediately, he knelt to the ground with a thud. Junior pays respects to the elder. Jiang Fan then looked at the other candidates. What about you? Any doubts? With a bottle of top-grade Qi Cultivation liquid in front of them, who dared doubt his ability? Even Chen Silin's eyes widened in amazement. Jiang Fan had always provided the Chen family with top-grade Qi Cultivation liquid, making them think he was a 3-star soul master. In truth, he had hidden his true strength. This made her even more respectful in her heart. Yorin is truly lucky by chance she found such a husband. She sighed softly, then thought about her upcoming blind date, her eyes dimmed. From then on, things became much simpler. With his guidance, the candidates quickly got the hang of it. Jiang Wenyuan humbly stood aside, serving respectfully as a disciple, assisting Jiang Fan in teaching the other candidates. Unintentionally, Jiang Wenyuan noticed a long sword strapped to Jiang Fan's back. The whole sword was wrapped tightly in cloth strips. Only one section had a gap. He saw a strange purple light emanating from it. A sword with purple light? Bang! Jiang Wenyuan's mind exploded. He instantly thought of the 3-star soul master in Cloud Floating Cave who had refined a top-grade pulse extending pill for him. It was him. The person who saved him was the elder in front of him. I should have figured it out earlier. Lonely Boat City wouldn't have so many 3-star and 4-star soul masters. They were all the same person. Thinking about Jiang Fan's 18-year-old face, Qin Wenyuan was even more admiring and in awe. At such a young age, he had such great skills. Given time, wouldn't his achievements be unmatched? By nightfall, Jiang Fan had finished instructing them all and said, "In the future, you will all follow the Chen family's arrangements. If there's anything you don't understand, I'll come back to guide you." With that, he left in a huff. Qin Wenyuan quickly bent at the waist, serving him until he left the Chen family and disappeared into the vast crowd. This scene left Qin Qianxiang, who had been secretly observing outside the Chen family's gate, dumbfounded. "Grandpa, what are you doing?" Qin Wenyuan should be Qin Wenyuan. Then he straightened up and sighed, "Can't you see? Naturally, I am serving the elder." "What?" Qin Qianxiang was shocked. "Grandpa, weren't you going to teach this person a lesson? Why are you now his junior instead?" Qin Wenyuan's old face turned red, then he scolded. "You idiot. I haven't dealt with you yet. I just inquired discreetly with the Chen family. This 4-star Soul Master Supreme helped the Chen family all because you offended him. So he helped the Chen family to bring down our Qin family. You wretched fool. I've told you to make friends and never offend anyone. And you went and offended the one person you shouldn't have. Pack up and move overnight. Our Qin family can no longer stay in Lonely Boat City." Thinking about his family offending a 4-star Soul Master, he felt nothing but cold all over, not daring to stay in Lonely Boat City for another moment. Qin Qianxiang was at a loss. "I haven't offended anyone." Instantly, he thought of Jiang Fan. But Jiang Fan was just a nobody, not related to a 4-star Soul Master. Thinking of him, Qin Qianxiang's eyes turned fierce. "Grandpa, can we teach Jiang Fan a lesson before we leave?" He exaggerated the fact that Jiang Fan had injured Qin family members. When he finished, Qin Wenyuan snorted. "Even if our Qin family is in decline, we won't be bullied by a Su family son-in-law. First go back and pack up, then we'll settle accounts with him." Path again to refine his movement technique. Su Yining had been waiting for a long time, her fair cheeks tinged with a faint blush, her eyes holding a trace of expectation and shyness. "Let's go in," Jiang Fan said expressionlessly, continuing to teach her the movement technique within Chen Zhengdao's projection. After half a day, having guided her for the most part, he entered the 12th layer to cultivate the wandering dragon palm. After 2 days of training, his first layer was approaching perfection. With one more day of refinement, it would be completed. He was eager to see if, upon reaching great success, he could have a match with Jiang Qingxian, to see just how powerful the wandering dragon palm truly was. Dragging his exhausted body home, he saw from afar a graceful figure, holding a dim lantern, waiting for his return. "Yoren," Jiang Fan looked around to ensure no one was present, then affectionately put his arm around her shoulder. Su Yoren's expression was complicated as she said, "Chen Silin came by." Jiang Fan let out a sound. She must have come to congratulate Su Yoren on becoming Elder Li Qingfeng's disciple. "She was looking for you," Su Yoren said, her eyes filled with resentment. "Huh," Jiang Fan was taken aback. "Looking for me?" Su Yoren replied. "When did you two become so close? She needed you to vet her suitor?" So it was about this matter. Jiang Fan explained, half-true. "It was the Chen family master's request. I once helped him, so he finds me reliable. So it was arranged by Chen Silin's father." Su Yoren's mood improved, and she said, "No wonder you are now at the 3rd layer of Foundation Establishment, one of the top experts in Lonely Boat City. Having you vet someone is reasonable." After a moment of thought, she added, "I'll go with you tomorrow. I also want to see what Chen Silin's fiancé is like and if he is more outstanding than you." This needs comparing too. A woman's competitive spirit knows no bounds. At dawn, Jiang Fan and Su Yoren headed to the Chen family. On the way, they passed a shop selling high-end gifts. Since it's an invitation from the Chen family master, it would be impolite to go empty-handed. Su Yoren stopped the carriage. "You wait here in the carriage, I'll go buy some gifts." She wore a green outfit, simple yet elegant, like a summer lotus leaf, brightening the eyes. Her fair skin and stunning beauty attracted the gazes of the shop's patrons. "Oh, junior sister Yoren?" Su Yoren looked up and saw it was Li Qingfeng's disciple, and Jiang Fan's upcoming challenger, Jiang Qingxian. Jiang Fan's entry into the Green Cloud sect depended on their duel. She dared not neglect the matter and politely greeted, "Senior brother Jiang." Seeing her gentle demeanor, Jiang Qingxian's face was full of ardor. He stepped forward and grasped her hand. "Junior sister Yoren, no need for such formality." Startled, Su Yoren quickly pulled away just before he could touch her, a hint of panic on her face. "Senior brother Jiang, men and women should not touch, and moreover, I am already betrothed." Jiang Qixian's expression immediately turned displeased, and he said, "To that Jiang Fan, he's just useless trash. Junior sister, you are so exceptionally beautiful, don't you feel wronged marrying him? I heard you were forced. How about this? I will stand up for you and break the engagement." As he spoke, he approached again. Hearing his insults, Su Yoren felt disgusted but had to endure, as Jiang Fan's fate depended on this man. Reluctantly holding back her anger, she whispered, "Senior brother, Jiang Fan and I are truly in love. There's no talk of wrongs or rights. Please, don't say such things again." Jiang Qixian squinted, becoming somewhat impatient. "Junior sister, to be honest, I fell in love with you at first sight. Coincidentally, I need a partner in the sect. Would you be willing?" What? Knowing she had a fiancé, he still made such an absurd request. Furious, she turned to leave. "I have matters to attend to. I bid you farewell," not wanting to spend another moment with Jiang Qixian. Unexpectedly, Jiang Qixian coldly threatened, "Do you want Jiang Fan to pass the assessment or not? His entry to the Green Cloud sect is entirely in my hands. If I go easy on him, perhaps he can pass. If I'm serious, do you think he can survive 10 of my moves?" This. Su Yoren abruptly stopped, looking at him angrily. "Senior brother Jiang, what exactly do you want?" Jiang Qixian's gaze roamed over her captivating figure heatedly. "Come with me now and have some fun." "I promised to go easy on Jiang Fan." He played a word game. He promised to go easy but didn't guarantee Jiang Fan would pass the assessment. Feeling deeply insulted, Su Yoren wanted to leave. Jiang Qixian coldly snorted, "Try taking one step out of this shop and I'll immediately crush Jiang Fan's hopes." Su Yoren walked to the shop's entrance. Yet she didn't dare step outside. Seeing the beauty he had frightened into hesitation, Jiang Qixian's lustful rage surged. Smiling, he stepped forward, extending his hands to embrace Su Yoren from behind. But suddenly, Su Yoren stumbled forward, his hands grasping at thin air. Upon closer inspection, it turned out Jiang Fan had swiftly pulled Su Yoren into his arms. Simultaneously, he kicked a spiky fruit into Jiang Qixian's hands. Ouch! Missing his target, Jiang Qixian's hands were pricked, causing him to hiss in pain. "You!" Jiang Qixian angrily pulled out the thorns. The sharp thorns drew several drops of blood. Jiang Fan narrowed his eyes, writing, "I don't know about your skills, but you certainly are despicable." Jiang Qixian snorted, "Who do you think you are to judge me? Don't forget, your fate is in my hands. Kneel and apologize now, and I might consider going easy during the duel, or else." Jiang Fan was unafraid, writing, "Then don't go easy. Winning that way would be meaningless." Jiang Qixian fumed with anger, laughing furiously. "All right, as you say, don't blame me for defeating you with one move." Jiang Fan turned his back on him, holding Su Yoren as they left. At the Chen family, their arrival was warmly welcomed by Chen Yuqiu. Only Chen Silin remained restless, sighing continuously. Especially seeing Jiang Fan and Su Yoren seated together, a perfect match, she felt even more dejected. Chen Yuqiu, noticing her feelings, said, "Fate brings people together and separates them. Don't force what isn't meant to be. Your other half is not bad either. A Green Cloud sect intersect disciple, Elder Li's cherished student from a prominent family in Biliu City, well matched with you." Though these words made sense, Chen Silin felt bitter. She understood she wasn't a match for Jiang Fan. However, people always compare. If Jiang Fan's fiancé were an unparalleled beauty she could admire, she would accept it. But it had to be her good friend, Su Yoren, who once lived a life far less than her own. She could only hope Jiang Qixian was not too inferior to Jiang Fan. At this moment, the steward led a person in confidently. Young Master Jiang has arrived." Jiang Fan straightened immediately, curious about the newcomer. The Chen family had a deep foundation, a vast estate. Chen Silin, pure and outstanding with a keen business mind, was both beautiful and intelligent. Her fiancé must be exceptionally brilliant as well, but at first glance he froze. Beside him, Su Yoren was equally astonished. Marriage, but the visitor was none other than it was Jiang Qixian. He stepped into the hall with a warm smile, carrying a heavy chest of gifts. "Uncle Chen, Auntie." Seeing the handsome Jiang Qixian, Chen Yuqiu nodded with satisfaction. Liu Qingxian was delighted. "I told you young Master Jiang is excellent, didn't I? Handsome and courteous, he looks like a gentleman, and his family background, cultivation, and sect are all top-notch choices." Jiang Qixian feigned modesty. "Uncle, Auntie, you're too kind. May I ask which one is Silin?" He followed Liu Qingxian's gaze. A beautiful young girl in a pink dress with a pear blossom hairpin, her black hair cascading like a waterfall, appeared before him. Her delicate and beautiful face, her flawless, dewy skin, and the enticing curves that even the dress couldn't hide. all made Jiang Qingxian's eyes light up. He had originally been resistant to this marriage proposal. Now he wished he could accept it right away. Such a beautiful woman was hard to find. Liu Qingxian asked expectantly, "Young Master Jiang, what do you think of my daughter?" Jiang Qingxian swallowed a breath of saliva and did not spare any praise. "Silin is a beauty, gentle and quiet. I like her very much." In his heart, he didn't believe the Chen family was worthy of him. Who was he? A disciple of Green Cloud Peak with endless future potential. Such a humble Chen family, worthy of marrying me. But if the Chen family offered such a beautiful daughter for him to have fun with for a few days, why not? Once he was bored, he could just kick her away. What would the Chen family dare do to him? Hearing such an evaluation, Liu Qingxian was secretly pleased, knowing that the marriage could be settled. As for Chen Silin's opinion, she ignored it completely. In a large family like the Chen family, children's marriages were not up to them. She signaled to Chen Yuqiu to step forward and make the decision. Chen Yuqiu looked at Chen Silin with a guilty expression. Seeing her head lowered, her red lips tightly bitten, unable to make a decision. He turned to Jiang Fan and said, "Young Master Jiang, what do you think?" Before making a decision, let's see what Jiang Fan had to say first. If Jiang Fan acknowledged this person as worthy of a lifetime commitment, then Chen Silin might give up. Liu Qingxian frowned slightly, not understanding why the head of the family had invited Jiang Fan to be a judge. He was just an in-law of the Su family. Did he have such an important role? She said without expression, "Young Master Jiang, please judge fairly. Do not cause trouble because of any personal connection with my daughter." If judged fairly, she was confident that Jiang Qingxian would pass. Such an outstanding person, how could Jiang Fan find any fault? Chen Silin, however, raised her head, biting her red lips slightly, looking at Jiang Fan with pleading eyes. Unfortunately, Jiang Fan disappointed her. He calmly wrote a note, "I will evaluate impartially and objectively." At this moment, Jiang Qingxian finally noticed Jiang Fan and Su Yoren. He was taken aback. "Jiang Fan, why are you here?" Chen Yuqiu looked at the two in surprise and asked, "What does young Master Jiang know, young Master Jiang?" Panicking inside, Jiang Qingxian quickly spoke before Jiang Fan could. "I met him once when I accompanied my master to the Su family." He gave Jiang Fan a vicious glare without leaving any trace, meaning for him to shut up and not say anything. Then he asked with a face of curiosity, "Uncle Chen, isn't today my and Silin's matchmaking day?" Why was he invited? Since he asked, Chen Yuqiu did not hide it. "Young Master Jiang, having met countless people, has extraordinary skills. I invited him to judge on Silin's behalf, to see if Silin's matchmaking partner is truly a perfect match." What? Jiang Fan was the judge for this matchmaking. His face turned increasingly panicked, deeply regretting. Had I known this, why did I tease Su Yoren just now and make an enemy of her? Chen Yuqiu, unaware of his changed expression, patted him on the shoulder with a smile. "But you are so outstanding, young Master Jiang couldn't praise you enough." "Right, young Master Jiang." Jiang Fan smiled slightly. He wrote a note. "Appearance, cultivation, family background, sect, all impeccable, all first class." Seeing such an evaluation, Chen Yuqiu nodded slightly. As expected, Liu Qingxian's face lit up with joy, thinking, at least this so-called Jiang Fan knew his place, not to spoil the Chen family's good fortune. Chen Silin's delicate body shivered, her rosy cheeks visibly turning ashen, her eyes hollow and vacant. She felt only despair. The only chance of overturning the situation was ruthlessly extinguished by Jiang Fan. This felt like a stab to her heart, unbearably painful. An anxious Jiang Qingxian exhaled a sigh of relief, giving Jiang Fan a contemptuous glance, inwardly saying, "Worthless, I knew you didn't dare to oppose me, but if you think I'll let you off like this, unless you sensibly send Su Yoren to my bed, let me have enough fun, otherwise don't think I'll go easy on you in the competition." Chen Yuqiu laughed and spoke. "Since young Master Jiang said," but he suddenly stopped, because Jiang Fan had produced another note which left everyone stunned. "However, his character is extremely poor, truly a scumbag." Su Yoren, who had been holding her breath, finally released it. She had truly thought Jiang Fan gave a passing evaluation. As her best friend, she didn't want to see Chen Silin be harmed by a despicable scum. Chen Silin's hollow eyes gradually refocused, her face rapidly brightening with joy. She cast Jiang Fan a deeply grateful look. Liu Qingxian's face darkened, saying, "Young Master Jiang, what do you mean by this?" Just when things were about to succeed, Jiang Fan suddenly played this card. Jiang Fan expressionlessly wrote, "Exactly as written. In summary, Jiang Qingxian is impressive on the outside but rotten within." If you marry Chen Silin to him, it will ruin her life. Chen Yuqiu was stunned. He knew Jiang Fan's identity. As a distinguished three-star soul master, his status was assured. He had no reason to slander a stranger. He looked at Jiang Qingxian with a more skeptical gaze. Liu Qingxian couldn't accept it. You're lying. Jiang Qingxian's reputation in Biliu City is well known. How could he be so disreputable according to you? Young Master Jiang, it's better to destroy 10 monasteries than ruin one marriage. Don't slander so casually. Jiang Fan couldn't help but shake his head and sigh. He wrote, slander. Mrs. Chen, why not ask in a certain shop on the street how the bridegroom of your eyes teased my wife, insulted my wife, even threatening me to force my wife into compliance. Such a person, would you still want him? What? Chen Yuqiu exclaimed. Is this true? Su Yoren stood up, her face angry but reverent. Uncle Chen, if you do not believe Fan, you should believe in my character. I swear on my honor, everything Fan said is the absolute truth. Now Liu Qingxian was shocked too. As her daughter's only best friend, Liu Qingxian knew Su Yoren's character all too well. Well-educated, gentle and pure, she would never stoop to lying. Never especially on matters concerning one's integrity and morality. Su Yoren added, if you still do not trust me, you may summon the shopkeeper and the clerk to form an open confrontation. With words said to this extent, what else could be doubted? Chen Yuqiu was enraged. Young Master Zhang, while matchmaking you still tease other women. What do you take my daughter for? What do you take my Chen family for? This marriage, let's drop it. Show him out. Liu Qingxian stared at Jiang Qingxian with disappointment. You let me down too much. Leave and never come back to our Chen family. Jiang Qingxian could never have imagined. The marriage he had almost secured was destroyed by Jiang Fan. He had intended to block Jiang Fan's path to joining the Green Cloud sect, but his own marriage was interrupted by Jiang Fan first. Wait! Jiang Qingxian suddenly shouted, pushing away approaching servants. He glared at Chen Yuqiu angrily. It's not over yet. Chen Yuqiu said furiously, do you still want to act recklessly in my Chen family? Not driving him away was already being very polite, considering their family's friendship. HMPH! Jiang Qingxian snorted through his nostrils, folded his hands behind his back and said, Chen family, have you forgot my status? Green Cloud sect, inner sect disciple. As long as I spread the word, whoever dares to marry Chen Silin will be my enemy. Do you think anyone else would dare to marry your daughter? Chen Yuqiu and Liu Qingxian's faces changed dramatically. The status of an inner sect disciple of the Green Cloud sect carried significant weight. Even a city lord dared not offend them, let alone an ordinary family. If he really spread such a word, who would dare to marry her? Chen Silin would likely be alone for the rest of her life because of this. You despicable man, Su Yoren exclaimed angrily. Can't get it, so you want to destroy it. Jiang Qingxian argued shamelessly. It was the Chen family who first insulted me. They actually handed my marriage over to a worthless person to decide. Isn't this slapping my face? He coldly glared at Chen Yuqiu and said, you have only two choices. Either let Chen Silin accompany me for a few days, and once I get tired of her, I'll naturally let her go, and she can marry whoever she wants afterward. Or, make sure she never gets married for the rest of her life. Su Yoren was trembling with rage. How could there be such a shameless person in this world? She was very grateful that Jiang Fan had ended this engagement. Otherwise, Chen Silin's life would have been ruined. But if Jiang Qingxian really carried this out, Chen Silin's later life would still be destroyed. At her young and beautiful age, would she really be ruined by someone like Jiang Qingxian? Seeing Chen Silin crying with sorrow but helpless, Su Yoren felt heartbroken. All these years, it was Chen Silin who had been taking care of her. Otherwise, her own situation would have been even more difficult. Suddenly, an idea struck her. She looked at Jiang Fan and then at Chen Silin. After thinking for a moment, she bit her lips slightly and said, who said no one dares to marry Silin? Under Chen Silin's puzzled gaze. Su Yoren grabbed Jiang Fan's arm and pulled him up, saying, Jiang Fan, you marry Chen Silin. Ah, Jiang Fan was bewildered and wrote, Yoren, what nonsense are you talking? The abrupt words left him completely at a loss. But Su Yoren bit her red lips slightly, her expression complicated, and said, it's not nonsense. I have thought about it seriously for a long time. She looked at Jiang Fan sorrowfully, filled with reluctance. If I am forced to go to the Green Cloud sect and you fail the assessment, someone needs to take care of you. And it just so happens that Silin has feelings for you. I believe she will treat you well for me. She had thought about it for a long time. When the day came to leave, even if she didn't want to part with Jiang Fan, she might still be forcibly taken away by Li Qingfeng. If that happened, Jiang Fan would be left alone, lonely. It would be better to take today's opportunity to fulfill Chen Silin. Jiang Fan wrote in astonishment, but what if I can also go to the Green Cloud sect? If we give her a title now, how will she marry someone else in the future? By doing this, you are still harming her. This won't do, Su Yoren's eyebrows slightly arched. From Jiang Qixian's malice towards Jiang Fan, it was impossible for him to ease up. The possibility of Jiang Fan passing the assessment was very slim. But even if there was a slim chance, she had to prepare for it, so she looked at Chen Silin with an inquiring gaze and said, "Silin, if Jiang Fan and I got married, would you still be willing?" She suddenly found it hard to say. To let the only daughter of the Chen family, such a beautiful and intelligent woman, become Jiang Fan's concubine. Wasn't this an insult to her? Not to mention that Chen Silin would never agree. Even the Chen family head could never agree. I am willing." What stunned Su Yoren was that Chen Silin's face was as red as the evening glow, and her watery eyes were filled with shy mist. She bashfully turned her face away, her voice as soft as a mosquito's buzz. Su Yoren was taken aback. "Silin, do you understand what I mean? I'm asking you to be a concubine." Chen Silin's snowy cheeks turned even redder, and she shamefully said, "I understand, I am willing." Su Yoren opened her mouth in surprise. Willing to be a concubine. She looked back at Jiang Fan, muttering, "What on earth does Silin see in you? She is even willing to be so aggrieved." She couldn't understand no matter how much she thought about it. Jiang Qixian sneered as he heard this. "Junior sister, you are too naive. How could a big family like the Chen family allow their only daughter to be a concubine? What use is it if you and Chen Silin agree? The head of the Chen family must agree. In my opinion, it's better to honestly let Chen Silin." His words were suddenly interrupted. Chen Yuqiu's eyes lit up, and he said with surprise and delight, "Yoren, can you make the decision?" Who was Jiang Fan? A 3-star soul master. In the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, he was an extraordinary figure. If the Chen family's daughter could become the woman of such a person, that would be a great blessing. No, it's as if the ancestral tomb is smoking. No, it's on fire, a fire that couldn't be put out. He had never even dared to think about it before, but now this great fortune suddenly fell upon him. But he didn't know Jiang Fan's attitude. Upon hearing this, Jiang Fan lifted his pen to write something, but Su Yoren snatched the pen away and gently scolded him with her eyes. "Silin is in trouble, why shouldn't you help?" This left Jiang Fan anxious. Su Yoren ignored him and said to Chen Yuqiu, "Uncle Chen, since I will be Jiang Fan's future wife, the matter of taking a concubine is naturally my decision. As long as you agree, then there is no problem on my end." According to the custom, the legal wife had the right to decide her husband's concubine's matter. Since she agreed, it meant that the matter was settled. Chen Yuqiu was overjoyed and knelt down excitedly. "On behalf of the entire Chen family and the ancestors of the Chen family, I thank Miss Su for your great kindness." Ah. The grand gesture startled Su Yoren, and she hurriedly helped him up. "Uncle Chen, are you trying to frighten Yoren?" She was just saving Chen Silin. Was it necessary to involve the ancestors? How could she know that her decision tied the Chen family to a 3-star soul master? From now on, they would leap through the dragon gate and rise to prosperity. Chen Yuqiu remained excited and couldn't calm down. Next to him, Liu Qingxian was filled with mixed feelings and pinched Chen Yuqiu's waist, complaining. To let their daughter be a concubine, and he was this happy. Even if they had no choice, they couldn't do this. How could this befit their daughter's dignity? Chen Yuqiu thought since they were now family with Jiang Fan, he whispered the reason. "Jiang Fan is the 3-star soul master of our Chen family." "What?" Liu Qingxian was so shocked she exclaimed. "He is. SHH. It's a secret." Chen Yuqiu quickly stopped her. Only then did Liu Qingxian quickly shut her mouth, looking at Jiang Fan with great joy. She was overjoyed and held Su Yoren's hand. "Yoren, Auntie thank you so much. You are simply a great benefactor of our Chen family. Let me also bow to you." Su Yoren hurriedly helped her up, panicking. Her head was filled with question marks. What was wrong with the Chen family couple? Did she do something incredible? Why were they giving her such a grand gesture? After calming them down, she announced, "Then it's settled. From now on, Chen Silin will be my husband Jiang Fan's concubine." Immediately, she looked at Jiang Qixian and said, "Can you give up now?" Jiang Qixian's chest heaved with unbounded anger. He felt deeply humiliated and shouted, "The Chen family would rather let their daughter become a concubine than fulfill my wish. In your eyes, am I not even as good as a worthless person? This is an insult to me and also an insult to the Zhang family. You all just wait for my father to come and seek justice." After speaking, he stormed off angrily. Jiang Fan was speechless. Chen Silin went on a blind date, and how did it turn out that she became my concubine? I was just here to oversee it, right? But things had developed to this point, and it could only be settled this way. After thinking for a moment, he took out his last transcend mortality pill, along with some top-grade Qi cultivation liquid, and that high-level yellow-grade mental method book. Since you and I now have a title, these items are for you. Take them quickly, and then ask Elder Li Qingfeng to test your spirit root to see if you can also enter the Green Cloud sect. Chen Silin didn't even look closely at what they were, blushing as she took them. Jiang Fan also felt uneasy. At this time, a servant suddenly reported, Young Master Jiang, the Su family master asks you to return quickly. The Qin family has come calling, demanding an explanation from you." Trouble upon hearing this. Chen Yuqiu's face turned serious and she said, "Young Master Jiang, I'll go with you. I heard that the old master of the Qin family, Qin Wenyuan, has returned. He's a ruthless character. Although Jiang Fan was a 3-star soul master, his cultivation might not be as strong as theirs. If they fought head-on, Jiang Fan might suffer a loss." Jiang Fan frowned. "Qin Wenyuan? Why is his name so similar to Huang Wenyuan's? No need, I can handle it myself." Jiang Fan waved his hand and immediately rushed back to the Su family with Su Yoren. The Chen family was still unaware that he had broken through to the Foundation establishment 3rd layer. If they knew, they wouldn't have this worry. Outside the main gate, Su Yining had been waiting for a long time, and upon seeing Jiang Fan, she wanted to complain a bit. But thinking about it, it was the Qin family who had caused trouble first, and Jiang Fan had injured so many from the Qin family for the sake of the Su family. She could only look worried. Old Master Qin Wenyuan is a 1-star Soul Master certified by the Soul Master Association and the Soul Pavilion. Even the elders of the Green Cloud sect have to show him some respect. Although we were forced to fight back, how could Old Master Qin reason with us? Su Yoren was also worried, her brows furrowed. If this matter can't be resolved, how can we peacefully go to the Green Cloud sect? Jiang Fan's face couldn't help but show a chilly expression. A 1-star Soul Master, he lifted his brush and wrote, "I want to see what explanation he wants from me." After saying that, he stepped into the mansion. In the main hall, Su Zhengyan obediently stood in the hall. Qin Wenyuan sat grandly on the family head seat, holding a cup of tea, sipping it slowly. "Jiang Fan isn't back yet?" he asked with an imposing aura. Su Zhengyan, with a bitter face, replied, "Old Master Qin, all the faults are mine. If you want to punish me. Please spare Jiang Fan, he's just a child." Smack! Upon hearing this, Qin Changsheng stepped forward and slapped him across the face. Su Zhengyan's cultivation was higher than his, and he could have dodged it. But in front of Qin Wenyuan, he didn't dare to dodge at all, letting the slap land on his face. "A child!" Qin Changsheng furiously pointed to his broken arm. "Did he look like a child when he broke my arm? I'm telling you, if Jiang Fan doesn't give the Qin family an explanation today, I will flatten the Su family." The clan leader being slapped in public. As clan members, who wouldn't be angry, who wouldn't hate? But with the formidable presence of Qin Wenyuan, their anger could only be swallowed in silence, allowing the Qin family to be arrogant. Among the clan members, Wang Yingfeng regretted deeply. What kind of sin did she commit to invite this plague, Lu Zheng, into the Su family, bringing destruction upon the Su family time and time again? If it weren't for Jiang Fan holding the fort, the Su family would have been finished long ago. But this time they were facing a soul master. How could Jiang Fan withstand the pressure? Chirp! The sound of a flying bird was heard. Li Qingfeng came asking while riding a flying bird. After all, the Su family was the family of his 2 disciples. Since he, the master, was nearby, he couldn't pretend not to see it. Qin Wenyuan's gray eyebrows twitched and he quickly stepped forward. He cupped his hands and said, "Elder Li." Li Qingfeng dismounted and kept a few degrees of courtesy. "Master Qin, no need to be so polite. Since you have returned in triumph, our Green Cloud sect should have paid you a visit." The status of a soul master far surpassed that of ordinary people. Even a 1-star soul master held a transcendent status in the Green Cloud sect. As an elder, Li Qingfeng was also courteous. Qin Wenyuan knew his intention and said, "Elder Li, you have come to mediate the conflict, haven't you?" Li Qingfeng smiled and said, "It's better to resolve enmities than to make them. Could you give me some face and let both sides end this matter here?" Seeing him arrive, the Su family members were secretly overjoyed. With Elder Li stepping in, today's matter was undoubtedly settled. Su Zhengyan also breathed a sigh of relief. Luckily, Elder Li was in the city. Otherwise, today's matter would be hard to resolve peacefully. However, Qin Wenyuan's face showed a hint of annoyance. Elder Li, it's not that I don't give you face, but the Su family has gone too far. Back in the days, I made quite a few contributions to Lonely Boat City. But during my decade-long absence, the Su family has injured and crippled my Qin family members. If I don't vent this anger, I would be ashamed to face the ancestors of the Qin family. Seeing Li Qingfeng's displeasure, he sighed. However, since it's Elder Li personally pleading, I'll take a step back. Every debt has a debtor. Since Jiang Fan is the main culprit, we'll only hold him accountable. It has nothing to do with the rest of the Su family. The members of the Su family were secretly overjoyed. Not implicating the Su family was already Qin Wenyuan showing great respect. This was the best result. Li Qingfeng showed a faint smile. Master Qin is benevolent. I thank you on behalf of the Su family. Only Su Zhengyan. His heart sank. He said, Elder Li, could you also help Jiang Fan? The Qin family directing all their rage at Jiang Fan. One could only imagine the price they would demand. Li Qingfeng frowned. He didn't care about Jiang Fan's life or death, and if he became crippled, it would be better as he wouldn't join the Green Cloud sect. That way, he wouldn't be a burden to his beloved disciple, Su Yoren. With a serious expression, he said, Su family master, I have already done my best. Although Jiang Fan is young, he should bear the consequences of his own actions. Experiencing this will also make him grow. It might not be a bad thing for him. Qin Wenyuan snorted with an imposing aura. Su Zhengyan, you should be content. If it weren't for Elder Li, your Su family wouldn't escape the crime of harboring a criminal today. Many clan members persuaded Su Zhengyan not to anger the two important figures anymore. Otherwise, in a fit of rage, if Qin Wenyuan withdrew his promise, the Su family would be implicated as well. But Fan, Su Zhengyan couldn't bear it. Obviously, it was because of the Su family that they provoked the Qin family. As he was speaking, a tall and straight figure quickly walked in from outside the door. Who else could it be but Jiang Fan? Seeing him, Su Zhengyan felt deeply guilty. Fan, our Su family has wronged you. The other clan members also hung their heads in shame. They dared not look Jiang Fan in the eye. Jiang Fan's eyes were calm as he glanced around at the Qin family, and with a cold gaze he lifted his brush and wrote, Last time I spared you dogs' lives, this time you're ignorant of life and death and come seeking death again, aren't you? As soon as the note was out, the Qin family members were in an uproar. Qin Changsheng laughed angrily. Bastard, do you even realize the situation and still dare to spew such nonsense? I'm telling you, if you don't give the Qin family a satisfactory explanation today, you won't leave here alive. Li Qingfeng also frowned slightly. Reading Jiang Fan's note, he could only shake his head. Young man, be less arrogant and more humble, and you wouldn't be in today's predicament. Kneel down and apologize to Master Qin quickly, and you might still have some room for negotiation. Otherwise, even I can't save you today. Master Qin. Qin Wenyuan. Jiang Fan's gaze swept over, landing on Qin Wenyuan. This visage, was it not Huang Wenyuan? He didn't recognize that the person in front of him was the old man with disheveled hair in the cloud-floating cave. But Qin Wenyuan immediately recognized Jiang Fan. Wasn't this the 3-star soul master who had killed Su Gangli with a single sword in the cloud-floating cave? No, it should be 4-star soul master. His mouth trembled. You're Jiang Fan.